way opinion poll runs up until 10:30, 10:45, and we will bring your way real talk. So you want to stay tuned. Quality conversations, interactive conversations, and of course, it's talk for development. Good morning to you once again. All right, since Friday, when Kuka, the bishop of the Sokoto diocese, gave a Christmas Day speech or statement, it looks as if Nigeria, has been in some kind of back and forth because everybody has been reacting. Arewa, the presidency, Khan, people have been reacting. And Kuka has come out to say, I never called for a coup against Buhari, and this can be seen on the Punch newspaper. Now, the Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Matthew Asen Kuka, has denied calling for a coup. Kuka at a media conference with some journalists at St. Bakita Secretariat in Sokoto on Monday urged Nigerians to get the accurate statement rather than relying on lies being peddled about in his name. The renowned bishop, in his Christmas message titled "The Nation in Search of Vindication," accused President Buhari of deliberately sacrificing the dreams of Nigerians to institutionalize northern hegemony. He went on to say the message drew the eye of the presidency, Muslim rights concern, as well as the coalition of northern groups. But Kuka said his message was based on his love for the country and had no political or ulterior motive. Now, we will talk about this extensively as the show progresses, but I'd like to get your view. Good morning, Emmanuel Ndukwe. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Canada. Good morning, Nigeria. When that issue was charging the wave, I said that I never understand
Kuka.
Yeah. Kuka's statement as calling for coup.
Yeah.
That's what I said. As if I knew what himself had in mind. What he stated is exactly his belief. And I don't know why he's being crucified for it.
They are saying it's political. A lot of them, I think Arewa yesterday was saying that the DSS should pick him up or put him on a watch list.
No, even if the DSS did so,
all right,
even if they go ahead and pick Kuka, it still does not mean that what he stated was wrong.
All right.
He never called for coup. Somebody who understands should look at what he said very well. What he merely said is that, see, you may have something in mind, which may be right or wrong. He said, if it were another person, apart from a Fulani, maybe person, that is the president.
Apart from Buhari. He said apart from Buhari.
But of course, there is that Fulani lineage.
All right.
He also mentioned that. And if it were another person, that there would have been coup. That is Kuka's conviction. It might be wrong.
All right.
Then in a democracy, of course, I always say we don't have democracy in Nigeria.
All right.
Maybe that's why, because if we had democracy, people would just take it as freedom of speech, which I know has not crossed a decent border.
All right.
I don't really know why they're looking for a way to get his head because of such statement. He didn't say, army, rise up and go into mutiny because of this and that. No. He merely stated what he has in mind, which I may disagree.
Arewa says that, he's pitching the South against the North. That is what they understood the statements to mean. Could this be why there is so much rancor, so much attack concerning his speech? Could it be?
Has there been any time Nigeria was free of rancor?
No, they say we are united, remember. The presidency sometime in September, sometime around that period, said we are more united than ever. I don't know if you remember that headline.
Well, I think Nigeria is more divided now than ever. That is the truth, the way I understand it. When anybody, nobody can maybe deceive a man of my age. Because I have been here. I was here when the war was about to start, and we went through the war and all that. And I knew exactly all that happened And if anybody is telling me that Nigeria is more united now, I will tell the person, give me statistics
All right.
of how united we are.
Still on the Kuka issue, the member of the House of Representatives representing Kaba Bunu Ijumu Federal Constituency of Kogi State, Tajuddin Yusuf, in a statement on Tuesday, said attacks on Kuka over his message, which touches on the prevalent security situation as well as the state of affairs in the country, is a deliberate effort to ignore the message and attack the messenger. Do you agree?
Ignore the message
and attack the messenger.
I agree.
It's a deliberate effort.
I wouldn't know whether it's deliberate or not, but that's what it looks like in terms of ignoring the message and attacking the message.
So the message makes
the deliberateness, I don't know.
The message makes the government look bad, so they attack the messenger, so the messenger looks bad, and so the message is not taking, or it does not hold water.
See, the problem, every administration has its own problem.
Okay.
But what I understand is the problem of this one is that don't ever express dissent. Just tag along. Right. You heard what they said, that if there is any protest in the form of NSAS or so, it will amount to regime change.
Right.
How?
All right.
Does it mean that people should just hide under the table or whatever to disappear from being seen by the authorities? That's not the way to go in a country. And they say they are running democracy, which of course some of us know that there's no democracy. Right. Because in a democratic setup, there must be, first of all, the electioneering. How is Nigeria election? All the people that are occupying positions of political positions, do they believe they won the elections in a fair and equitable way? But that's not happening. The electoral system is flawed in Nigeria. But whoever that Yaradua came up to make effort at putting it in order, after him, who had tried that? Who?
Good luck trying to amend the...
Try to do what?
Amend the Electoral Act.
Why didn't he take off from where Yaradua ended?
All right.
See, it's unfortunate. So there's no democracy, there's no freedom. Even though freedom won't be absolute. But little freedom, there is none. You can't express yourself. Look at Kuka. They are after him just because he expressed himself. It's unfortunate.
All right, then. Let's move on to another headline on the Punch newspaper. It says FG adopting wrong strategies to address bad economy. Obasanjo, Utomi, and others speaking. Now, according to the report on the Punch newspaper, it says former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Tuesday said the country was not doing the right thing to improve its poor economy and tackle poverty. The former president, who said this in his New Year message at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library at Abeokuta, Ogun State, cautioned Nigerian leaders to stop blaming God for insecurity, bad economy, poverty, and other challenges confronting the country. Obasanjo said this on Tuesday as the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, urged Nigerians to return to agriculture. He said the country's oil industry was in turmoil. But economic experts dismissed Buhari's statement, saying government was not serious about GDP fell by 3.62% in the 3 months to September. The GDP is the broadest measure of economic prosperity. Do you agree with Obasanjo and the other economic experts that say that the president is not serious about taking the economy? Okay. No, not just diversification, but taking the economy to the next level because they are using the wrong strategies. And one of such strategies, as pointed out by the Punch newspaper, is the call for the president that young people should return to agriculture. I'd like to take your view on that very one.
Well, it's always very easy for those that are occupying political positions to make statements in terms of, say, for instance, the president telling young people to return to agriculture. But if you go to the field of agriculture, you can't see any of his children. Any. They won't be there.
All right.
And incidentally, if they are there, then you see the kind of farm they'll be going.
That's what I wanted to say. The kind of agriculture they're asking the young people to go into is,
subsistence agriculture.
Yeah, the agriculture of old days.
Where you do heaven and earth, you make a little. You walk like maybe an elephant, and then eat like an ant or so. For me, nobody will accept that. But you see, those that are giving advice, Chief among them perhaps is Chief Obasanjo. Things may be very difficult in the country, but Chief Obasanjo shares in bringing out the difficulty, which is running unperturbed. He shares. For instance, take a critical look. I have said it. The lack of power we have in this country bears a substantial percentage of our backwardness.
All right.
Now, at least as stated by those in the circle of authority, they said either 16 trillion or whatever, or 16 billion or whatever.
16 billion.
But, and dollars though, not
$16
Naira,
billion.
was sunk into the power sector during Chief Obasanjo.
Not just this time. I think the entire PDP era.
No, I'm not sure. Okay, even if I'm not sure, but even if it were entire PDP era. Now, those of them after Obasanjo, you had Yaradua. A little while Yaradua was not there, but Goodluck continued until Goodluck left. So blame all the leaders for the impoverishment of Nigeria.
All right.
Now, were they not seeing those best ways? I'm not saying better, best ways, which Chief Obasanjo is now maybe telling us. Because it looks like, I have said it, there must be a thick black curtain in Aso Rock. Once you are there, you don't see clearly. But as soon as you depart from there, the whole thing fizzles out and you start saying, so you can now advise, this is the better way. You see, you told me, perhaps others, I want to listen to them. I just want to listen to them. You know, one thing is that they've not been, the reins of power have not been in their grip. So they are correcting and correcting and correcting. But unfortunately, intellectuals don't rule Nigeria. You know, Yaradua tried because, I think because of godfatherism, it was Chief Obasanjo that also said, brought him.
Goodluck was an intellectual.
Oh, he was, but I didn't see him perform like an intellectual. I think by my own assessment. I stand to be corrected by any other person. But one thing is that in Nigeria, those who are sound intellectuals don't rule.
Okay.
They don't rule. So Utomi and all the rest of them could be giving advice, but what I would want them to do is make such suggestions, compile them, and then send to government.
Right.
And it will go into the account that at least you advised on this. Not that you just keep on maybe on the airwaves saying, no, use this. No, it doesn't help anybody.
Now, let's get to the next headline. Still on the Punch newspaper, Umahi, the center of focus, as PDP blames him for Ebonyi killings, alleges harassment. Now, the Umahi whom the PDP in the past have praised for his infrastructural development, for his ability to govern so well, all of a sudden has become the demon, so to say, the one wearing the devil's cloak here on earth. And names have been used to describe him, names that I'm just going to read the report. The People's Democratic Party has expressed worry at the killings in Ebonyi State, saying Nigerians should hold Governor David Umahi responsible. Now, the acting national vice chairman of the PDP in the Southeast Zone, Chief Ali Odefa, stated this during the PDP Edda Day, which held at Echara Village, Ekiti, Edda community in the Afikpo South local government area of the state on Tuesday. According to Odefa, Umahi's sudden threats to clamp down on cultists and their sponsors in the state was geared towards diverting public attention from his planned witch hunt of perceived political opponents. He said it is a lie. What the state government under Umahi is brandishing, that money was missing in the department I superintended before. No money was missing. Umahi is the mother of all lies, and he could get to any length to get people to believe him. Umahi's government is a government of deceit. This is where my area of concern is. Umahi's government is a government of deceit, lies, family business, and insincerity, and I couldn't have lasted so long in such a government. You people should not take him seriously. His government is a failure, and he knows that. Umahi is the chief sponsor of all the killings, cult activities, and intimidation currently going on in Ebonyi. We know him, and we know that he's doing all this to weaken us. but he won't succeed. He cannot succeed in forcing everybody to join him in the APC. Our people have rejected him, and this is because Ebonyi State is PDP and PDP is Ebonyi State. But you see, I was reading it early as of this morning, and I was wondering, is it not the same Umahi that they were showering praise and praises on, and all of a sudden, all of these evil words to describe him. But why did they not come out before now? Is this the party loyalty we've been talking about all week? Let's hear from you, Emmanuel Ndikwe.
You know, the system of blind loyalty in the country, is a party system, is very legendary. And anytime at all, anybody hears any comment from any politician, you will only say, well, he's saying exactly what his party wants him to say.
Okay.
Now, you know, Umahi was like a trailblazer while he was in the PDP.
Yes.
But now, is maybe if the demon or the devil has a tail, that's the only difference between Umahi and the devil. Unfortunately, the man that is, in fact, extraying all these odious qualities about Umahi should be held complicit. Because if Umahi were all these he's portraying him to be now,
he was part of the government.
Yes, he was part of the government and he kept quiet. Everything was cozy. Umahi was, in fact, maybe near being a heavenly being or so. But right now he departs and himself doesn't want to go with him.
Right.
Umahi has shown all these vile exhibitions. It is unfortunate.
Right.
Selfish is politics in this country.
Right.
Anytime anybody jumps from PDP to APC, it's not. You see, what baffled me was when Godswill Akpabio defected from PDP to APC. Godswill Akpabio, that was a big shadow. The PDP said, no, it doesn't mean. I said, my God, when will Nigeria be telling themselves the truth? He was nobody because he defected from the PDP to APC.
Right.
But he was somebody when he was in the PDP. Unfortunately, selfish politics is what goes on in this country.
Still talking about the defection on the cable online publication, still talking about Umahi's defection, Ebonyi deputy governor to Umahi, you must contest for president in 2023. Now, you remember when Umahi left, he said, no, I'm doing it for the Southeast region. The Southeast region, we have been marginalized in the PDP for 16 years or for how many years now? Is it 20 years? And now we need to show them that we are very important in the scheme of things. It's not my personal interest. And you know how they always do it. My people have said I should run for office, so I'm going to run because of the mandate the people have given to me. The people always give them the mandate, and yet we still see rigging and all sort of electoral irregularities during the elections. Well, what do you make of this move? Do you think this is a political strategy played by the Ebonyi State government?
Well, I think it's a political strategy played by all the stakeholders in APC in the Southeast.
Interesting.
I tell you.
Interesting.
They may not be nudging him to do anything, but at least since somebody had been emboldened to come out and say, challenge maybe the order of the then day. And they said, okay, go ahead. You see, the normal thing is that, no, the people urged me to do this.
Yeah.
The people. And
they gave me the mandate.
For me, I don't have interest to do this thing. It will look selfish for
right.
the people. And that people, one of them is the deputy governor.
All right.
So he has blessed the trail. You will now see very soon when what others will come. There's a grand swell of support along the line of Umahi's ideology will come up. That is it. That's Nigeria. Selfishness on the throne in terms of politics.
All right. All right, let's move on from defections now, and let's talk about Aisha Buhari. Remember, there was a rumor started by Sahara reporters or, the Sahara people when they said Aisha Buhari ran to Dubai because of insecurity in the Aso Villa. Now, those were rumors. But yesterday it got really interesting because Aid was live on Channels Television, and when he was asked about the whereabouts of Aisha Buhari, he deflected. Now, the Punch newspaper captioned it as thus: Aisha's whereabouts, First Lady entitled to privacy, says Aid. Mr. Aliyu Abdullahi, spokesperson for Mrs. Aisha Buhari, wife of the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, says the First Lady is entitled to a right to privacy. Abdullahi was reacting to the whereabouts of Mrs. Buhari, who has not been seen in the public of late. He spoke on Tuesday while featuring on Channels Television's Politics Today program monitored by the newspaper. When asked about the whereabouts of Mrs. Buhari, the aide said the First Lady, although married to the president, nevertheless, she's a citizen of this country and she's entitled to her own right to privacy. That's her right, and she does not choose to speak at this particular time. Abdullahi further noted that there is a huge difference between how Buhari is tackling the insecurity bedeviling the nation and how former President Goodluck Jonathan responded to the same challenge. And this is me thinking two things. Is either Aisha Buhari actually did run, according to the rumors, or she's been silenced, because we know in the past, we've seen, the history where Aisha has been very outspoken. She's come out to talk about things that we would not have known that there is no Panadol at the Aso Rock hospital if she had not spoken. We would not have known certain things if she had not spoken. But which is it for you? Do you think it's a deliberate attempt by certain people in certain quarters to silence Aisha, or maybe the rumors that like I said, there are rumors, we cannot substantiate them, but maybe there is an iota of truth in those rumors?
I am not an apostle of those who said in every rumor there must be an atom of truth. I don't know. There are rumors that stand from A to Z being false. But one thing is that, let's face the facts. All the people that are politicians and non-politicians knows the fact that the union of husband and wife will not weld together if the wife is in opposition to the husband, and vice versa.
All right.
Now, if, for instance, Aisha will come out and be releasing what seems or what looks like secret of the weak point of the administration, the president, there certainly must be private moments for both of them.
All right.
And then the president is warning, please, how can you be the one to be removing seed from my buttocks? Where is it done? And the woman insists. There could certainly be a contrivance of a certain group by the president. What I'm saying is a supposition. I'm not laying very much credence to what I'm saying, but it's a theory that how things can come up. Now, the president could say, look to these people and that people, those that are very close to him also. Look at what my wife is doing and all that. Or those people could be coming to tell the president, are you watching exactly events as they unfold, the way your wife is in opposition to you? How can your own wife be the one to be selling you to the public? And the one hush, then they could be checking the wife of the president.
All right.
Remember that the power is in the husband's hands and not the wife. So if they are saying that she has maybe gone to somewhere, not to be very much visible as usual, perhaps the reason will be to avoid all the utterances she would have. But remember, one day she must surface. And if she does, she could also fire another salvo as soon as she comes back. All I know is that conspiracy theories in this kind of thing, and the conspiracy theory is not new to governance and government.
All right. Let's move on to another headline. SIM registration. NIMC issues fresh guidelines for NIN applicants. And you would know that COVID-19 seems to be resurging in Nigeria as we begin to score very high in terms of recorded cases. And yet, the government, the federal government, is insisting that Nigerians must register or link their NINs with their SIM cards. And this has caused large gatherings at the NIN offices all across Nigeria. Even in Rivers State, in registration centers, it is reported that there are large gatherings in those places. But let's read. The National Identity Management Commission on Tuesday issued fresh guidelines for applicants to obtain Their National Identification Number NIMC spokesman Kayode Adegoke made this known in a statement titled NIMC adopts booking system for NIN enrollment. Now, the statement partly read, mindful of the second wave of the COVID-19, which continues to severely affect public health and cause unprecedented disruptions, the Commission wishes to announce that it has adopted a couple of measures to contain the spread of the virus whilst ensuring its services to Nigerians are not entirely interrupted. Effective December 30, 2020, attending to applicants will be based on booking system. For bookings, applicants are to visit any of the NIMC offices closest to them during stipulated business hours, which is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Once admitted into the office, a number issuing queue management system will be in place to ensure orderliness and strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols. You know Nigeria. Some people will be at the NIMC office by 4 o'clock. By 6, 7, there is already a large crowd waiting to get this number or register with the NIMC so that they can go for their enrollment, so to say. Do you think this is enough? I mean, given the attitude of Nigerians, do you think this is enough? Or the NIMC should look for a way online by which people can register and then they can be captured and, they can do all the thumb printing and all of that stuff. Or maybe they could just link the BVN with, the SIM cards and everybody's good to go. What's your take?
You see, Kalada, it's unfortunate how government of Nigeria see things.
All right.
How can you say you are governing the people and in the heat of COVID, especially with the variant that is out now to ravage the entire age.
Spreading very fast.
Good.
Yeah.
And then government will just be rigid in its policy of saying you must link your NIN to the SIM cards. Like I said before, that means you are giving Nigerians license to go and spread the COVID among themselves.
All right.
Now, when you are saying that we are adopting a booking system, now that booking system, I want to ask you, tell me how the booking system that people will not group.
We still gather. It's still a manual booking system.
Just tell me. It's unfortunate that whoever is saying this thing is happy. Booking system. They have not done anything to indeed mitigate this kind of condition that it is prevalent now. They've not done anything. I think if they come up with these e-booking, if it will e-booking,
it would have been better, yeah?
Yes. But I tell you, they will not do that. Because,
it will stop the greasing of palms?
I tell you, if you book online, who is that? You are seeing the name behind the faces, and money cannot go with the name.
Interesting. We have Dr. Obidima JP, journalist, international affairs analyst. Good morning to you.
Oh, Kala, good morning. Compliments.
Yes, same to you.
You are shining like a mandukwe.
Thank you very much. I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you very much. You don't know too? Okay.
I don't know now.
Okay.
How can I shine?
All right. Let's hear from you. What do you think of this? Why do we still use outdated systems to govern Nigerians?
Canada, sometimes there are comments that or issues that come, it's difficult to really react to them. We are a country that the citizens are under captivity. We move through one torture to the other. Every time one issue will come up, BVN registration, INEC registration, verification, or this and that, even this, this SIM card registration, updating, or not those kind of a thing, link this to that.
And all of them are asking for the same data and statistics.
NIM registration, and link this to this, and all these things are done manually. You can imagine the whole population we have. And compared to the facilities that are available, you see the kind of stress they give to us, but they are not subjected. You don't see them come out in these centers. They go to the offices to do it for them. and they will make citizens of this country to stay under the sun, under the rain.
All right.
You know, for one thing, this issue of national identity, NIN, you know, now to link it to the
SIM cards
and sure for security reasons. Why is it that they didn't discuss this thing first with the network providers on how to manage this thing without citizens stressing themselves, and give enough time, make those applications available for us that it can stay in your room and do this thing.
All right, but since it's for security reasons, you would need to thumbprint. You would need the facial recognition.
Times we have been thumbprinting. Even with this network, we have thumbprinted.
All right.
We have thumbprinted, you know. So bank will thumbprint. INEC will thumbprint.
But some people have done false thumbprinting, and you know there are people who go ahead to register SIM cards for others. So I'm thinking maybe that's what the government is trying to avoid.
You see, if you go to register for others, and you have also registered, in fact, there is a way they should even link all the network.
Interesting. You have a point there.
You know?
Interesting.
To link all the network. So even if you don't have MTN, this thing, and you have maybe Glow,
and
you
Airtel,
printed this thing, and you go to this thing, there is a way to track this thing down.
All right.
You see, one thing is that is government saying that the BVN, all the BVN they have, that they are fake.
Not everybody who owns a phone has a BVN.
No, you see, now that's a different case.
Okay.
If you don't have BVN, now if they block those who don't have, you will be affected.
True.
Now a lot of Nigerians have BVN now because almost all the transactions give you a BVN, and they've done it to a level that at least those remaining may be few.
Including the national identification card. I need to put that in there.
No, that's true.
The BVN is needed for the national identification card.
That's true. So what I'm saying, what would have been so bad, knowing the condition, the prevalence of COVID now, to say, okay, banks, online also, ship all the BVN you have to all these communication people.
Yeah.
And they do it seamlessly without subjecting Nigerians to going to names of office to buy COVID. Because that's what it means.
They're going to buy COVID.
They're going to buy COVID there. And later on, government will reel out statistics. I don't know whether they are happy about reeling out those statistics.
Yes, they are, I think. They need to budget some more. Don't you think so? But let's move on. COVID-19, Nigeria struggling to cope. January will be tough, FG says Vanguard. And they're sending people to NIN centers. Anyway, Trace. The federal government has explained its helplessness in the face of gross violations of COVID-19 safety protocols, saying the nation's health system is currently struggling to cope with the increasing number of infections daily. While it projected that January 2021 would be tough in terms of managing the pandemic due to continued safety violations during the Yuletide, it announced its decision to confiscate 100 international passports of travelers who evaded the day 7 post-arrival PCR test. This came as the Federal Capital Territory Administration threatened to shut down markets and other business ventures in the territory for violating the safety protocols. Speaking at Tuesday's briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Dr. Chikwe Iekwazu, said Nigeria would next month pay the price of violating the protocols during the festivities. We just faced the worst week since we started responding to this outbreak. We had more cases in Nigeria last week than in other previous weeks since the beginning of the outbreak. Pictures and videos from across the country paint a very disheartening situation, because it appears that our messaging, our appeals to Nigerians over the last few months have not been heeded, and we have gone ahead with business as usual. Event centers are full, social activities are full, and so it is not surprising that cases are rising. January will be a tough month, no doubt about it. So we have to brace ourselves for the consequences of the activities that we have decided to carry out in December. Now, remember the last time the government said the federal government said that Nigerians should brace themselves up for difficulty was immediately after the 2019 elections, and then the president came out and said it's going to be tougher, and then we saw VAT being increased 50%. We saw stamp duties. We saw this. We saw that. Going by that antecedent, federal government has come out to say again it's going to be a tough January. What are we supposed to be expecting? Are they going to shut down the markets? Are they going to shut down schools? Are they going to shut down the economy, given that we are in a recession? Or, I mean, what do you make of January is going to be tough?
Kalada, let me tell you one thing. I have said it before. You see, cocoyams do not finish in his farm. Anyhow, any strategy you use whatever, and then spread them. Whenever it reaches the time for it, the new ones to shoot out from the ground, you will see cocoyams everywhere.
All right.
That means no matter how tough, Nigerians won't finish in this country.
All right.
Now, let me tell you, when they are saying they are advising us about COVID and all that, now, let's say, I have said it before, that there will be lockdown if it's very necessary.
Right.
There certainly must be. It's not a matter of you don't like it. There certainly must be lockdowns if it's necessary to curtail, because I want to believe it curtails, even though hardship will follow it. But remember, it is at this critical time, you know, as a government, that this COVID, and especially the new variant of it, that is more infectious than the former. And you are saying people go and huddle up together and register your name so that you could attach it to your SIM cards. I don't understand this kind of government. How can you send people to the war front to go and die, those that are civilians, for instance, and you say you are doing a good thing? Now, if there are breaches to the protocols of COVID, and you come up and you lock market everywhere, you lock down, it's understandable. But this one, at this time, the intensity of it is growing, is when you are sending everybody to go and group together.
All right. All right.
What are you doing? Absolutely.
Obidima, your take.
Canada, there's contradictions.
All right.
You know, we run a system that is quite medieval. And sometimes questions if our government or the decision-making process or the government is actually collegiate, whether they sit down to discuss and look at the pros and cons of issues before they come out with their statement. I see a system where somebody comes up, maybe that is what is in your department, or it's within the ambit of your ministry. You come up, you throw something without the thing going through the gamut of decision-making process. Why I say it's contradiction? Like a man said, it's a period they are giving a very short time for people to link their national identity number to the networks. And you know the population in this country. And you know, like I said earlier, that we are short of facilities to even handle this population.
All right.
Now, too, we are now thinking on locking down either markets and all those things. Which market that will be more crowded than these centers that you are asking people to go to? Where? To link their this thing. You know, that's why I say they don't really plan. Now, if you lock down markets, our economy is so weak and the poverty rate is high, unemployment rate is high.
And GDP is high as well. I just needed to put that in. GDP is high as well. But go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Largest economy. Yeah.
Yes. So, if you look at these things, how do you manage the welfare of the people? So, I believe that the most creative way of going about this thing is to ensure that people comply to the wearing of face masks. Put up mobile calls all over the places. And when you do this all over the places and enforce it, People will be put, even if they go to the market, even if they're in the market, they wear their masks.
All right.
But to say that we should go and go to this thing and stay within the comforts of our homes, look, it's not the best thing.
All right.
Not the best. This government, they are not thinking properly.
All right. That's what you said. You said it. But let's move on to The Guardian now, where there is the headline, "We will wrestle food inflation in 2021, Buhari assures citizens." Now, we're moving from January, it's going to be tough, to we will wrestle food inflation in 2021. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that his administration will keep a keen eye on food inflation in the new year. Malam Garba Shehu, the president's senior special assistant on media and publicity, in a statement said Buhari gave the assurance at the 5th regular meeting with the Presidential Economic Advisory Council held on Tuesday at the State House, Abuja. It was here in the studio yesterday when we were talking about inflation, when we were talking about Nigeria being the best economy in Africa and the 26th in the world. And someone was asking the question, if we are the best economy, how come we have prices, of food and other, edible commodities being so high? The president has replied, so to say, that, see, don't worry. In 2021, we will do our best to make sure that the common Nigerian can afford the best food, so to say. What's your take, Emmanuel Ndikwe?
Well, in the first place, it's happifying to know that the president
is aware,
understands that there's a food inflation in the country. I tell you, hearing that alone may give a hope that yes, they will do that. Whatever I always say, whatever government wants to pursue and achieve, they can do it. If not 100%, at least 70%.
All right. And
so, if he has made such promise, what I would only say and where I will leave it, because it's possible to be largest economy. Remember this thing, largest economy, not best economy.
I kind of think it's one and the same, but go ahead.
No, please, it's not. This is largest. Remember what they said as a caveat, that they said it's nominal GDP.
And the only thing they did not calculate was the cost of living in the countries. But then again, the GDP grew.
If you come to that cost of living, then you weave in this particular food inflation. So what I'm saying is that you can be largest economy without talking about maybe prices to come down.
All right.
The issue now is, like I always say, it's a promise made by the authorities of Nigeria. Now, let us see before we agree.
All right. Let's hear from you, Obidima.
Let me restate the first expression I made, that we are in a country of contradictions.
Okay.
Honestly speaking. And sometimes I wonder whether it's the president that is actually making the statement directly, or press statements that are issued on his behalf. Because this is a president that is not in touch with the people.
But apparently
he's highly disconnected with us.
Apparently he's abreast.
Excuse me.
Okay. If he weren't, that would be...
yes, that's what I'm saying. Apparently he's abreast.
No. I don't think, because, look, I said it here one time like that I've studied the decision-making process in American government. It's not that, you see, sometimes when Donald Trump comes to make statement, you think that it's coming from his head alone. No. The Secretary of State has a lot of input, his office, in the decision-making process. And any particular issue, maybe an issue of security, the chief, what they call this joint chief of staff or what, the chairman or the head, has a lot and could disagree or agree with the president. The president don't just come and issue statement. In fact, when I had Buhari issue statement of directive to central bank, not to say forex, to people who want to import food, I said, this man don't know what he's talking about.
But it's for local production.
Excuse me, that local production, we had that narrative in 2017, and we are dying.
The death is what he wants to tackle in 2021.
Up to today, where is that quantity of this thing? The pandemic exposed the lies and the propaganda. of this administration. Do you know that we spend over $16 billion annually to import beans from Ivory Coast and some other West African countries?
Right.
The tomato we use in this country is not enough.
Right.
A lot come from Cameroon, and pepper come from Cameroon. Now, the people here are relying, they are producing rice. Is it on mechanized basis? It's not on mechanized basis. So, and they don't even try to compare with the kind of huge population we have, the man that feeds in this nation. And you are doing this, all that. I said it, the policy is tended towards favoring his own part of the country. Because he knows that yes, he want to empower them. They are producing rice. There is anchor borrowing and all those things. For central bank is focusing all the loan towards that place. Now, you don't want a particular people that trade, that import. Bayelsa governor, the Bayelsa governor, during the pandemic, exposed some of these things that they gave them 1,000 bags of rice, being rice banded by customs.
All right.
That's what they were even distributing during the lockdown.
But we talked about it, and there's nothing wrong with distributing.
Exactly. Now, where is the local production?
It's there.
Because these are the smuggled rice, the customs impanded.
But they can't. They can't give all
That's
of.
what they were distributing.
They can't give all of the local production for pandemic palliatives. What happens after palliative pandemic?
That's what we call backward integration.
Okay.
And while you are getting food, it should boost local production. That it will not leave a gap.
All right.
Leaving a gap is to do what? Is to suffer your citizens. Because rice is a staple. And the people eat rice today. And the price they are producing in the 7 states you mentioned is not anywhere enough. And they are even more costly than the foreign rice.
And that could be as a result of man's inhumanity to man. And I was going to say that is where the president is going to tackle
the issue of demand and supply.
Yeah,
there's a law.
But like I said, let's pause you there. But
demand and supply.
Well, let's pause you there, Obidima. We have seen situations where Nigerians inflated prices of goods and commodity just for selfish, and that is where the government is coming. Yes, that is where that's not my argument. I'm just saying.
But where? Who regulates the economy?
All right. We have 4 minutes left before the news update at 9. I have Dr. Emmanuel Iru Ayanama, a chartered arbitrator, mediator, management consultant, and socio-economic commentator. And I have Henry Ekine, legal practitioner, human rights advocate, former National Publicity Secretary of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's get your views quickly. Let's start with you, Dr. Emmanuel. Quickly, what do you make of this conversation that you joined us while we're having?
Laughable.
Laughable?
Funny analysis. Let's get down to it. You see, when I hear us talk sometimes these kind of issues and we refuse to put meat to it doesn't make sense to me.
All right.
You said 7 states are producing rice. The rice are not enough. Beautiful. You have a case. Here's the rice are not enough. Why are the rice not enough in the first instance? We're not asking that question. Going beyond that, it's even laughable that somebody that is quoted here, Bayelsa State Governor, who inherited a primary rice mill that till today has not been touched, could open his mouth to say that he has opened camp of non-production. It's laughable. It's laughable because a River State Governor who perhaps inherited a farm, a palm farm, up till this date, has not thought that he can make River State a palm heaven.
All right.
It's not enough. It's funny when you look, there is no way, and I stand to be corrected, there is no way the federal government can guarantee food security without
the state
government's involvement. We've deceived ourselves over the years. And people want us to keep doing the same thing over and over again and then think that you get somewhere because you have a source of free money. So that money should continue and every other person should follow his or her hand. Open up self-forex. Forex derived only from oil. Keep sharing it. So that 1 or 2, 3% will go. And we need to make Nigeria a dumping ground. To what extent will we make Nigeria a dumping ground? People must get this fact straight. I have told people the issue of food security. Food security in Nigeria is very simple. It's Nigerian made. The first thing that Nigeria has done to guarantee non-food security is the fact that we have, as a child, a grown-up child, my mother had a garden behind her house.
Interesting, yeah.
Today, the first thing we do after we build a house is to concretize the ground.
Yeah.
To concretize the ground. That's the first thing we do. And we want our purchasing power to be dependent on that income we just derive directly. My grandmother was paid £2.10. We have about 11 in the house. Could we have used £2.10 to feed us, to put us through school? It would not be possible. But because we weren't buying food, food was there. You could go to the water and then catch small fish. And we had balanced diet as it were. Which family does it today? Your income today, as you earn your salary, in fact, when you earn your salary, it's already spent.
Yeah.
All on food. I say food price. How many persons are even into the farm we're talking about? My brother did say that there is a law of demand and supply. I will must hammer on that law of demand and supply to tell you that the higher the demand for a product, when the supply is tied, as it is in Nigeria, prices will continue.
We've got to go for the news updates. We've got to go for the news update. Thank you very much. We'll continue that conversation when we come back. Stay tuned to Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM. Port Harcourt.
Good morning. Here is the news update at 9 on Today 95.1 FM. I am Kala Kurubatibo. Youths from Choba community in Obiakpo local government area of River State have protested against the Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company, PHEDC, over what they described as economic sabotage. Our correspondent reports that the protest followed after a clash between some of the youths and officials of PHEDC during their routine disconnection of power. The chairman of Choba Youth Council, Francis Iwunda, who spoke to our correspondent, accused officials of the PHEDC of constantly collecting huge sum of money as estimated bills without providing power, which has led to people relocating from the area, just as he called on the management of PHEDC to caution their officials in Choba. On his part, Chimene Odungweru, who is the publicity secretary to the Choba Youth Council, stressed the need for government and management of the PHEDC to set up a panel that will regulate the activities of the PHEDC officials deployed in the community to avoid extortion and other forms of irregularities. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has condemned the kidnap of the auxiliary bishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Owerri, Bishop Moses Chikwe, by gunmen. Chikwe was abducted on Sunday night along with his driver at the World Bank area of Owerri, the Imo State capital. According to a statement by CAN's chairman in Imo State, Reverend H.S. Divine H.S., the association described the cleric's abduction as the height of wickedness, calling on the police authorities to immediately rescue the victims. CAN also sympathized with the Archbishop of Owerri, Archbishop Anthony Obina, on the abduction of the cleric, assuring the Catholic community of the association's support and prayers. While noting that the abducted cleric has been discharging his duties diligently upon assuming office in 2019, the group wondered why it would be the target of kidnap. President Muhammadu Buhari has said his administration would continue to encourage Nigerians to go back to agriculture. President Buhari said this has become imperative because the oil industry, which Nigerians abandoned agriculture for, is now in turmoil. The senior special assistant on media and publicity to the president, Gabasheu, said the president spoke at the 5th regular meeting with the Presidential Economic Advisory Council at the Presidential Villa Abuja. According to the statement titled President Buhari, Government Will Wrestle Food Inflation in the Coming Year, Shehu quoted the president as giving his words that his administration will keep a keen eye on food inflation in 2021 while giving a directive to the Central Bank of Nigeria not to give any money for food importation. And on the foreign scene, an international criminal police organization popularly called Interpol has traced a 500,000 euro COVID-19 fraud to Nigeria. The organization made this known in a statement on its website titled Unmasked: International COVID-19 Fraud Exposed. According to the statement, the scheme was coordinated using comprised emails advance payment fraud, and money laundering. It stated that the fraud was uncovered by financial institutions and authorities across Germany, Ireland, and the Netherlands as part of a case coordinated by Interpol. And that was the news update at 9 on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap on the running water. Avoid touching your face and eye contact surfaces to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Good morning to you. I am Kala Dakarabatbor. Stay tuned. Conversations continue after this break.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we're talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues
Amin
raised.
Potaka says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the PDP. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms of the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Today
95.1 FM.
or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962.
Rather 6 minutes can pass the hour of 9, and it's time for us to continue the conversations. But before we get to opinion poll, we were trying to wrap up the wrestling of food inflation in the year 2021, and one of such ways the president has fashioned out is that there will be no forex for importation of food and all of that, and trying to make sure that we boost local production. Obi Dima does not agree. Dr. Emmanuel says that the state governors have to do their biddings, to help. But let's hear from Henry Ekine. Good morning to you yet again.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right.
I was wondering whether I was going to say any more, but to concur with the analysis of Doc. But I would say that they are more palpable and concrete than conceptual that Nigerians have chosen to be.
Right.
Nigerians have chosen to be more conceptual. You just make a statement and then there is nothing really concrete behind that statement to make it real. So let me say one thing. Policies are driven by aspirations. So when you hear that the government has come up with a policy, it means that the government aspires for that objective of that policy to be what really it's pursuing. And then every policy well formulated has objectives. And of course, in most cases, seeks to cure some inadequacies, some challenges that we've had. So let's take what we are discussing, food insecurity. Clearly, we have come to the position, however we got here, where we came from, whatever, we all have to answer to it. But we've come to a position where we hardly can feed ourselves, even in our small homes, in our villages, we hardly can feed ourselves. So there's that challenge. Then the policy is to address that challenge. And then that's the objective, to say, look, how do we improve food security? And then it's an aspiration. And when government makes the policies, then we all have to participate. So people participation to drive policies is another thing. And it's really lacking in this society and in this country. We all expect the heaven on earth. But how much do we participate in driving the policies and programs of government to ensuring that the aspirations and the objectives are actualized? Then food security really is about how do we, look, he was giving the analogy, and even as young or old as I am, it's the same story everywhere. I was in the secondary school, and on Friday after school, I will leave Ahoda, Western Ahoda Country High School, and I will go to the village. And what have I gone to do? So that my father and I will go fishing. And then I was doing that. By Sunday, I will return to school, and I'll be coming with a basin of gari that my mother's role and then my sisters would have been that they would have been in the farm. So we never bought gari. We never bought fish. We never bought okra. We never bought fresh pepper. But today, even the woman in the village will be looking for someone who is going to Abua market or Aouda market to sell for pepper.
And in those times,
how would we not have food insecurity?
And in those times, I want to think that while you were going to the farm, the prices of these commodities were relatively cheap.
Of course, we have
That is the economic part. Sorry, please allow me. That's the economic part he was going to analyze. I have just given, I said we never bought Gary. Meaning that my parents wouldn't have looked for the hard-earned money to buy a basin of Gary because everybody in the village was going to the farm. So you go to farm, it's cassava farming. And then at the time of harvest, everybody has cassava everywhere around.
Right.
Those who had the machines to go and grade were just moving from one compound to another to grade the cassava. So everybody has Gary. Who is buying from who? And economically, how would it be cost? That would be, high cost. Today, you're buying a basin of Gary for 7,000 naira. Are we crazy? Is it about Buhari? Is it about a president, whoever it would be? Is it about Nigeria? And then where are the farms? Have we lost the land?
Interesting.
And then my wife was asking me, why is it that we don't find yam here? But you know what? I was growing up, we never bought yams in my village. I'm from Ogbogolo in Ahuda West. It's River State here. We never bought yams. And wow, when I was small, my grandmother and I and all of us would go to the farm, the yam farm. She would have a big yam plantation. She would dig the holes. I knew how to plant it. She would, that as young persons, very small children, we would kneel down. They would say, oh, so that the ground will bless your own tubers. So she will be testing we know where we planted actually. So I will know my own. At the time of harvest, I will know that my own tubers are big. These are the kind of practice we had. Pepper everywhere around the garden. Okra, in fact, our farmlands can still grow yam. But every yam we eat in Nigeria will come from one place. Even if they work out their ass, it cannot provide food security in this country. We're lazy.
Let me move on from this conversation, but I have a question for you. And the question is thus.
Yes, please.
You and Dr. Emmanuel, we have listened to both of you talk about the good old days. Why are you not doing the same thing that was done by your fathers? Why are we not seeing you in the farmland teaching your children the same things that were taught to you while you were growing up?
Can I tell you something quickly? Even at that time, it never meant that there were no people who were in the cities doing the other jobs. Now, see the analogy. When my uncles or my elder ones were in Port Harcourt doing the jobs, for them returning home, they were bringing money. They were bringing the other things they are working here. And then when you're returning from the village, you're returning with your car, stock with farm produce. But now everybody who has even nothing to do in town is in Port Harcourt. Everybody is in the town. And then nobody is there again. There has to be that challenge. So at all times, there has always been someone who from every family is out here. So if today I'm a lawyer, I can't practice law in my village. So I am here practicing law. Then I will go home and I buy the things I will buy from here. I go give my mother. She farms. And I still do that. I will give her, and then she gets those who are doing the clearing, and the farm is still being done. And then I'm coming back with bunches of plantain, and then Gary, and then cassava, and all that.
And so
but today, everybody is here. Even people who are here who can't pay house rent, they are still here.
It's time for opinion.
Let me just chip something quickly, because I saw that era.
Okay.
And there's what we call citizen mobilization.
All right.
Look, there was a time in this country that agriculture thrived. It thrived because government mobilized the citizens. They even go and buy the goods from the farmers. And export. It happened in this country. I grew up as a boy. I know that I'm in the bush. Tippers are coming into the bush to carry timber, carry palm bunches, palm oil, palm kernel bunches, and all those things going to oil mill. The oil mill set up everywhere, and there was that kind of incentive. Are we seeing that in today? We're not more seeing it.
And that's where
we are not more seeing it.
That's where the call for the state governors come into play.
No. Wait.
That's where the call for the state governors.
Agriculture is in concurrent, which is not even.
Oh, I thought it was. Excuse me.
Let him wrap up.
Let me come up. Agriculture is in concurrent, which even is not business of the federal government.
Okay.
But they're in it. Directing central bank on what to do.
Concurrent means both.
No.
Concurrent means all.
Yes, but then the center controls the central bank. Where some of this incentive in terms of flow, grants comes from, and they know how to push it. Did Buhari not tell World Bank to concentrate their decision?
Was put to land sponsored by
Buhari did that. Buhari told World Bank it was open. that they should concentrate their
Was
development
put to
visit
land
in
sponsored
the
by
north.
Central Bank.
No, listen. The local, excuse me, the states depend on the allocation they get. Do the federal government
let
also
him wrap
depend
up,
on their allocation when it comes to agriculture? When it comes to agriculture, they know how to bamboo Central Bank.
Let me ask a question. So what are you trying to say? Are you saying the federal government is the one making it impossible for states to indulge in agriculture?
It's not that it's the one that making it impossible.
Because that's what we understand.
But if you look at the various states of the federation today, tell me which state, other than the intervention of the central bank, that holistically engages in agriculture.
They are states.
No.
I don't have the statistics at the finger at my
No.
finger.
Lagos
At my
State,
finger-
right.
they are-
I'm
Sorry,
I want to use the sound.
Cross River.
I want to use the sound.
Cross River that
I want to use
started. Cross
River.
River that started.
Wait,
No, you know what? Let's leave this
now.
conversation. It's time for opinion poll. Let's move on.
Let's
Thank
end
you
it
very
there.
much.
Oh,
Time
this
for
is
us
an
to.
individual.
Thank you very much.
Individual efforts.
Let's move on now, and let's go to opinion poll. And in opinion poll, we want to go back to the conversation. Cooker's statement, Cooker's Christmas Day statement has elicited a lot of criticism and praise, from different quarters. And there is the article on the Vanguard that caught my attention, and I'm going to read it out, and we will continue conversations with that one. Now, the article is titled, "When Good Men Do Nothing." Now, it's written by Sonny Ikioya, and it started by saying, "I did not read Bishop Matthew Asen Cooker's A Nation in Search of Vindication until after the indirect response of the federal government through the Minister of Information and that of a group that called itself APC Youth Forum. We are really in denial in this nation, but fortunately, some chosen ones among us have decided to stand out and not to join the bandwagon of Sidon Luke. If we are truly a people of conscience, we would be in our respective homes and worship places in sober reflection of the message the bishop just delivered to the nation. It calls for a deep understanding and reflection that should serve as that will put the nation's interest at the bottom while theirs will be at the top. Cooker's piece is a bold narrative of the situation of the country as it currently stands. We know where we were in 2015 and people could go to the toilet without fear. Where are we today after all the flavored promises? There is no way that we can make progress if we do not accept the true situation of the country. It is when we agree that there is a problem that we can begin to probe causes and diagnoses. But we cannot do that in fear because fear expunges our sense of logical reasoning, and that is the situation that the country has found itself. Edmund Burke, 1770, wrote, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. When bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fail one by one, an unpitied sacrifice in a contemptible struggle." The good ones among us have collectively gone silent, and as a result, things have progressively deteriorated in this country. Our politicians played the do-or-die politics. We all kept quiet. Then they resorted to ethnicity and religion. The whole nation kept quiet, and now collectively, the whole nation is in decline. This is what Cooker meant when he said each and every one of us has contributed to the darkness of our nation. It is too glaring to see, but because we are deeply entrenched in our rot of corruption and greediness, no one is ready to take the bull by the horn. The consequences have now dawned on all of us, and darkness is staring us in the face. What are the realities of today's Nigeria? According to Cooker, endless bloodletting, a collapsing economy, social anomie, domestic and community violence, kidnappings and robberies, and the pursuit of the self-defeating and alienating policy at the expense of greater national cohesion. If we want to be honest with ourselves, this is the basic truth, and to him, in a way, the choices we make will help us decide whether this coming year is our annus mirabilis, year of joy, or our annus horribilis, year of sadness. It is our choice to make. Sometimes each of us have to take the initiative, even if it is a little embarrassing, to prevent something even more embarrassing or even more dangerous. For most of us, our default is to keep quiet and try not to make any wave. Someone once noted that it is easier to do nothing in a difficult time but that it is not what we are created for. God looks for people who will take the initiative, speak truth in hard places, say the least painful 2% that needs to be said, and cut off tragedy at the pass. That is why we must give kudos to Bishop Kukah. It takes a lot of courage to come out this way with personal risk to life and property in the heart of the caliphate. Now, you would remember that the summary of Kukah's Christmas Day speech was that this administration was enabling a northern hegemony. What would you make of the writer of this article's angle and perspective to the his reaction to Kukah's statement, where he said we Nigerians have kept silent for too long, given the fact that there are people who have spoken in this time and era under this administration, and the words fell on deaf ears. I can give an example: the NSAS protest, for instance. There were promises made, and all of a sudden it looks as if the government has taken another direction towards handling the matters that were raised during the NSAS protest. I could give another instance where people who called for the sack of the service chiefs, for instance, not like I'm a party to it. I'm just bringing up, the things that we've seen in this time and era. And, those calls also fell on deaf ears. I could also tell you about, the insecurity situation where people have said, oh, the president, should do this, should do that, should do that. And the list is endless. Well, let's start with you, Emmanuel Ndukwe. What is your take on the issues raised by the author of this article?
Well, I think the only one I do not agree with is the way he concluded the whole piece, talking about the caliphate or whatever. That's just where I would have done differently. However, I think the points he mentioned there rank very much even with me. Kukah's position, I don't know. I have said it several times. I don't know how officials of government read their own and how they understand their own. For me, Emmanuel Ndukwe, Kukah did not say anything that looks like what people are calling for, he said. He didn't say anything if truly we believe that we're in a democracy. Freedom is not absolute anywhere in the world. But in that relative freedom you have, something like what Kukah said can never be frowned upon by any government that knows that at least there exists genuine freedom in his country. I wouldn't know the position of what those people have in mind. For instance, he said the APC...
Youth Forum.
Thank you. And then, I don't know, maybe the adults forum left it for the youth. I don't know. But I tell you, for me, what did Kukah say? That were it another person, not Buhari, of the this thing, Fulani extraction, that there would have been a coup. And I am saying, right from time we have been on these military regimes, there certainly have been coup and counter-coup. Just because you do not understand what these people and your own interest, you stage a coup. In the military, it's been like that. And what Kukah is only trying to do is, but we must understand one thing. Kukah is not a Southerner.
All right.
He's not.
Okay.
And so, if he's talking about that thing, the way we look at the North, all of them are together. Now, Kukah is making the truth known. For me, I think that what Kukah said is what he believes in. And in a free society, because what he has said does not amount to treason or whatever. Right. Why are we focusing on that and saying Kukah said this and that? Must everything Emmanuel Ndukwe says maybe rank even with Dr. Rainema? No. Because if it's like that, then we are not two individuals. It is later what I said and what he says, we now look at them. That's what makes us mature and reasonable. Okay, this thing you said, is it right to be in this form? Or this one I said, no, we compromise and said, okay, this should have been looked at. We have a position. That is how this war should be. If you expect everybody to come and say whatever the administration does is the right thing, I don't think Nigeria can move forward with that. And that was why when they said, if there is any protest, like the NSAS, that will amount to regime change, I said no. Rather, what government's position means now is to gag Nigerians, never to show dissent. Because showcasing dissent does not mean, in a way, to toppling government. It doesn't. Except a government that wants people to be very subservient and docile. Whatever they say goes. I don't think that is the way to go about governance.
All right.
But you see the angle of these caliphate. I don't know. I don't know. What I always say is that, like the author of this piece, I disagree with him. I think completely that Nigerians have been keeping quiet. No. I remember vividly when Nadeko and all the rest of them, in fact, they were there looking in the eye to eye with the military. They suffered. That was when the Nobel laureate was always using his special route in leaving Nigeria. While Ganifa Emi will stay. Gani said, everybody has his own system. He will stay here and fight the military dictatorship. He will not live through any special route. But Soyinka will always go through that special route and later on come back to the nation. All the people, Bebanjo, the rest of them, they were engaged, fighting, even with Abacha and all the rest of them. Was he not speaking out? Right now, what we are doing here, we're not speaking out.
All right.
And a lot of people, the fact remains that, see, I don't think any mature adult will see fire burning. You go and put your hand. When a government has in mind, for instance, don't express anything that will showcase that you don't agree with us. If you are talking, you intelligently you'll be talking, intellectually you'll be talking, but you will not challenge them as if they are two authorities. I have not seen it, except you want to become a rebel. And if you become a rebel, you'll be treated like one.
All right.
So I think what that guy said is good, but in terms of other things, but that Nigerians have kept quiet and that's why things are going this way, I disagree.
All right. Let's get to hear from you.
Yes,
Obidima.
Canada, you see, only the blind will not see what is going on in Nigeria, and only the deaf will not hear. It's only an embezzler who will not understand what is going on in Nigeria. And only the politically blinded that will take a narrative that want to burnish the battered image of this administration. I read a book some time ago, This House Has Fallen. And that book is quite instructive. And it mirrored and pictured all that is going on in Nigeria. And I want to kind of lay emphasis that this house is falling under this administration. We must continue to emphasize it. Whether it sounds good, pleasant in the ears of people or not. Who have been saying this? I've been saying this on this platform. I've been a kind of pushing this conversation on this platform. Thank God that people like Bishop Kuka, even the Sultan of Sokoto, who I think is even a latecomer in this, are also towing that line. We have not seen a nation, go to literature, any nation that has run this kind of system for a long time can never be called a nation. It will only begin to navigate towards what we call a phase state. And that's where we are going.
All right.
Now, is Buhari practicing nepotism? He is. Because I said here sometimes when they talk of corruption, I said when I was in primary school, civic lesson, one of the things we know about corruption is nepotism. And when you throw nepotism up in administration, you bring mediocres. And mediocres because people who are not qualified, who are not competent to mind certain positions. And you are just putting that organization in a position to collapse in a short while. And Buhari has practiced nepotism. It may shock you that 84 very key positions in this country today, 84 key positions, very sensitive positions, are occupied by Northerners. And out of them, only 4 Christians. The rest.
Does it really matter?
It does.
No,
Excuse me, it does. Listen. Canada, listen. Let me tell you.
I want to ask a question.
Let me tell you why.
Can I ask my question,
yes.
please?
Yes.
Does it really matter what religion or where you come from?
It matters, yes.
Can I finish my question, please? Because if you're talking about merit and mediocrity, it's not about the religion or the ethnicity. It's about the content.
That's a question.
It's about the ability and capacity of the individual. So why are you making a reference to ethnicity and religion?
That capacity of individual is found everywhere. Now we have a constitution, and the constitution that make provision on federal capital, federal character principle. Now, in a diverse society, in a religious and ethnically divided society like we have in Nigeria, how do you manage the diversity?
Under good luck, under good luck, Jonathan. How many Christians did we have? How many Muslims did we have? Let's start from there.
You should tell me.
No, you are the one. You are the one really nice statistics.
You are the one. I'm not here. And we are talking of the statement Kuka made.
No, you made
reference
you
to
made
Buhari's administration.
you made reference.
And that is emphasized here now.
No.
If you have an idea about
let's not shout. Let's not shout. You made reference to the Constitution and how it should spread the appointment to. And my point and my question is, I mean, you probably have the statistics at your fingertips. So you probably would have good luck statistiks at your fingertips. How many of them were Muslims? How many of them were Christians? Let's be realistic now.
Even the private secretary of Goodluck Jonathan was even a Muslim.
So it's just that one you're going to point out?
Yes, he was a Muslim. And the two, the judiciary, INEC, what they call police, Inspector General of Police.
All right.
They were all Muslims.
The chief of air staff is from where? Sorry, correct me.
The chief of air staff.
Yeah.
The chief of air staff
is a Southerner. The
chief of air staff.
Yes, is a Southerner. The
wait.
He is a Southerner.
Listen.
The minister of see the list is endless in this administration.
Canada. In fact, that's not the. Let my thought line. Let my thought line.
All right, cool. But I just wanted to correct that one. Go ahead.
It is. That's why I said here before that only people who are trying to polish the image of this thing. Kuka, who is emphasizing it, is not from Northwest. Right. Kuka, who is saying it that nepotism is thriving in this nation. Is he even the only person that has said it? Look, I conducted a research on this recently. Yes.
Right.
We need the facts.
Excuse me. I conducted a research.
All right.
And it is quite obvious that Buhari came to promote an agenda.
That's conceptual. Make it conceptual.
Excuse me.
No, you get to your point. We get to your point.
Excuse me.
Don't worry. Let him
came
finish.
to promote an agenda that favors its own section of the country. Is it the first time we're hearing it? Since this administration started, is it the first time? Are we not going? Who would not even come here now and begin to talk? It is not true and begin to rely on what happened in previous administrations. No, we are talking about Buhari's administration.
But I'm trying to tell you
Look,
that I'm trying to tell you that
you are a fresh academic. You should have some embarrassment.
Excuse me. Let me finish.
Take it easy.
Let me finish.
Wrap up now. Wrap up.
I'm not. Wait. You have been interjecting.
Yes, but wrap up. Please.
No, you don't need to. You give me time. You have been interjecting.
Please, thank you very much. Wrap up.
So what I'm trying to say is that we have low quality leadership.
All right.
And it's affecting every facet of our economy. In fact, when you read people like Lee Kuan Yew, who came in a hopeless situation, a country that is hopelessly out of, and in fact, begging the neighboring this thing to take them as this thing, it took someone like Lee Kuan Yew to come in, someone who is creative and imaginative, somebody who knows how to mobilize the citizens to drive development. And you brought Singapore from not even a third world country, something less than a third world country, to a first world country. We need such leadership.
All right.
And the people were deceived in 2015, thinking that Buhari is the one that is going to provide that leadership. And where are we today? We're in a shit.
We can't use such language on radio. No, we can't use we can't use such languages on radio. We'll get fined for that. Points of correction. We draw that statement.
Okay, what do you mean about that? Where we are? Where we are now is a hopeless situation.
All right then. Thank you very much, Obidima. We're moving from you now. We're going to Dr. Imawa. Let's get to hear your view.
First, I expected my friend, who is a very fresh, academics.
No, stay your mind.
A very, very fresh academics.
Stay your mind.
A very fresh academics. A young doctor who just was awarded a PhD just a few months ago. Talking without empirical data for me is something else. I expect
let's go straight to he's entitled to his opinion.
I'll go. So see, while I will not be here to, like he called it, burnish a Buhari or the federal government, as it were, we need to put a fact. Part of the problem with Nigeria is everybody knows it all in Nigeria, nobody knows it. And that's the biggest confusion that disturbs us. We keep tackling the shadow instead of getting to the root of the problem. Now, Kuka, respected gentleman, highly knowledgeable. I've read that piece 2, 3, 4 times. There is more to that piece than meets the eye.
All right.
A lot of people can do the interpretation the way they like.
What is your? Let's start with you. What's your interpretation, please?
The first problem is that he raised fundamentals that are real and ended almost the same way the gentleman just wrote his article. Ended. When you say nepotism, let's take the police for instance. There is nobody in the rank of a stand committee. There are conditions for IG. See, there are things they throw out. They don't tell Nigerians. There are conditions for IG appointment. One of such conditions is the fact that you must, as a matter of fact, at the time of your appointment, have a minimum of 4 years to stay in office. Similar thing is going to happen now.
All right.
You must have a minimum of 4 years. And that is not something that was created by this government. Let's put Nigerians on the right plane first. It's not something that, it has been there. And so whenever such thing happens, you find a whole lot of persons who have 2 years, 3 years, 1 year.
Some less than 1 year.
Going away. Even though they've actually stayed, it's just closer to when they would have taken over. These are part of the things to find policies create. It's nobody's business. In this country we have, in the judiciary you say the most senior gets in. There are policies on ground. And we'll sit down here too to argue. Say, why are you not using the most senior? Let's use the most senior one. We must respect. When you put laws and you're not able to respect those laws, then something is wrong with you.
All right.
You asked a question here where you said, how many were in our brother's government? And it's a german thing. You think you would have done something else? There are laws on ground. His own hands through towards those laws. If you could support it at that time, why the fight now? Now, back to the real thing. Nigeria's problem, I've always said, began when we felt that our problem is not how to make money, but how to spend money.
All right.
And I've repeatedly accused General Gowon to have destroyed the average Nigerian psyche. If you come to Nigeria Delta, the least you hear anybody tell you is the fact that our money, and I ask, where the money then? Our money. That's what we ask. Because we think oil is underneath us. Our money, poor mentality. It has destroyed us today. We keep having the money in the air because we can't even feel it. We don't know how the money can come out. We don't know how to drill. We don't have the machinery to drill. We don't have the technology to drill. But we keep saying our money. That's our first problem. Take a look at appointments. And I don't know how many persons have understood. He's a lawyer. In the River State Judiciary, for instance, tell me how many of the other ethnic groups are lawyers. And so when you continually see one ethnic group as Attorney General or Chief Judge of the state, you begin to make noise. There's a calculated attempt. People must sit down to plan, and that's the southern problem. At the marriage of Nigeria, the three powers that married had an agenda. That agenda was what is forcing to what we are all seeing today. The North took to the military. The East commerce, as it were. The West, liberal science, as it were. So you find them in the civil service. Till today, you still find, go to permanent secretaries, you find more of them. It's a very simple thing. The other parts of Nigeria have not started balancing the equation. And it has to be something planned. Strategic planning. You don't just sit back and begin to make noise. You keep making this noise till like you don't won't go anywhere. You must keep quiet and begin to ask yourself, oh, there's a military recruitment coming. How many of our persons will be able to join? At what point, all things being equal, will they become generals? We must sit down to do that planning. Those are the things we're looking at. You can't character balance without looking at these elements. It's impossible. When universities came out, what's the other one? Isuka took care of the East. You had Ibadan taking care of the West. You had America taking care of the North. As soon as they started springing up universities, they did not really fold their hands. She also started springing up. In fact, almost all the lecturers that taught in the North were from the South. At the start of university education, all of them, they knew that they will be competing in a country called Nigeria. What is the plan of the South? Particularly the South and Southeast. What's our plan? If all the others are going and you're abusing them and holding them responsible, you cannot eat your cake and have it. We must sit down and plan.
If I understand you very well, you're saying that the reason why certain things are the way they are is because the southern part, or no, the South has not aligned itself, or let's say the South has not aligned itself politically.
With the realities on ground.
Okay.
With the realities on ground.
Okay. To some extent, it's right.
With the realities on ground.
I'll explain.
We live in real things. You were here when they talked about cattle rearing and whatever. I asked a question on this program. I said, who told anybody that the Fulanis have the monopoly for rearing cattle? That's a policy of government and not. Let's agree they have an agenda. And in that agenda, what agenda were we able to create? Because in every agenda, every individual has his own agenda.
All right.
In group dynamics. What are we able to do? Until we begin to think that way, we will only be noisemakers.
All right.
Until we begin to look at them, we surely will become noisemakers continuously. And it will help no Southerner in this game called Nigeria.
All right. Let's. Henry Akina is smiling. I think is relishing the opportunity to say what is on his mind.
Oh well.
And because you're the last person on the panel, it gives you the time to arrange your thoughts and all of that.
The disadvantage is that sometimes I now wonder what I will be saying if he's going to
because
make any sense. Because they are making very good.
All right.
However,
let's hear from you.
I think I'll start by saying that it's time for us to talk down on the divisive narratives that we have. We talk down on them.
All right.
We are humans. We are competitive in nature. It's not like they don't exist. Even across countries, comparative politics, you would see it. Everybody wants to take advantage over another. You could see America goes into another country. They almost are dictating the pattern they think that should be democracy. I read a book, The True World of Democracy. It was there that I knew that there were variants of democracy. So, but everybody's saying democracy. In the West, the Americans will come and want to implant democracy the way they perceive democracy in your place. Who says the Chinese are not democratic? But then you wouldn't probably want to align with their pattern of democracy. So, with that, we should be able to allow whoever would have come to rule this country at one point or the other and he's gone on his own peace. He may have done well, he may have done some wrong things. Then whoever is there at the time, tolerate him at the time, and he's going to do his best, and he goes away. Because if you tempt people to make the comparisons, then those who feel that we should be more objective will come into the comparative analysis. I can tell you for sure, I am an Ogbeya man, for instance. So if anybody was to speak in support of Goodluck Jonathan, we speak the same language. Right. In fact, I saw his elder brother live in my village in Kalaogbogolo. My kid sisters knew his elder brother, the one who actually even helped him. We visit him. But if he does something and he didn't do well, as I speak here as a public analyst, I would say I never liked what he did. So, for God's sake, this country is large enough, and the way we practice our power, it happens. So let's not today say, oh, this man is doing this about Nigeria. We will give the wrong narrative to our junior ones, to our children, and then to society, and hit up the politics. So we're doing the same thing. Right. So in summary, if we're talking about appointments, for God's sake, what are we talking about? What is the meaning of nepotism? How nepotic is even the government we have today? We made reference to the Constitution, and the Constitution is so very clear. All the Constitution says is that if you're doing your appointments, make sure that you reflect and touch all the states of the federation. Would we say that anybody has come to run this country and he didn't do so? Even the current administration. Except you're just arguing sectionally. We have ministers from all, yeah. We have ministers, and those areas where juicy, what the position is juicy? Which provision of the Constitution says what position is juicy and which one is not? And even when you say so, who says therefore that at your own time it wasn't done in the pattern that is done today? I was just looking through. Knowledge is available everywhere here now. When Yaradua died and my uncle Goodluck Jonathan stepped into power, what was the pattern of his first ministerial appointment? Who was Minister for Finance? In fact, Ministry of Finance stayed in the South until he left. From one person to another.
And he was similar.
Ministry of Defense, to the point that even somebody who never had any stints in defense was the Minister for Defense at Dekombo SAN.
And it was the same with Obasanjo. I stand to be corrected.
Say, no, my brother, what? Even in the military, we probably will never have imagined that we will have a chief of army staff. The South is hard. The South hard. Okay, it's Minima, not Goodluck's brother, if we want to do those analysis. But he was chief of army staff.
All right.
Would he have become, perhaps, if it wasn't Goodluck? Yes, maybe. Or no.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. So we have had these appointments, and I tell you, I've checked, even in the security, National Security Advisor, National Intelligence Advisor, who was okay?
Who was Aziza?
Who was Aziza? Aziza was a Bayelsa man. He became National Security Advisor.
It was my name.
No, that is it. So that's the pattern. No, it's not that it will be like that for the AC. Goodluck had 6 years. But it's not that he didn't do it or he didn't appoint. Andrew Azazi was chief of army staff and became National Security Advisor. He died as National Security Advisor. So we shouldn't give these narratives, for God's sake. We should be more objective in all of our analysis. Right. That's my submission.
But then, what do you make of Cook's statement?
For Cookie, all of his comments have been comments we have been making here, but I took out one part. Like, when somebody can actually, he's one man I respect. All of what he has said is virtually everything we have said, and we have been saying. Of course, we cannot deny the fact that there is no challenge of security in this country. We cannot deny the fact that we need to improve our economy. Every country is doing so. Even the American economy is still struggling. They are seeking and desiring to improve their economy, seeking and desiring to improve their security. So who is Nigeria? But when he talked and got to the point of also joining the one that I'm even condemning now, as if the government is nepotic, or if the president, if it wasn't good, Buhari, and that if this what Buhari is doing, it was from another section, there would have been coup. Oh, he's making everything nothing. And that's the part of his comments I read through that I think I would have taken exception to, and then would have wished that he never added those aspects to probably pollute what he has actually said, that I agreed with almost 80%.
All right.
So that's for me my submission to Kuka's comments.
When Dr. Iroinema was saying that the South, for instance, maybe fail to align with certain things, and I said I agree. Sometime I sat, because I can become a research person on my own when an issue troubles me. Every time I kept on thinking, why is it that almost all the chief justices of Nigeria are coming from the north? I dug in to research on that to know, so that, because I want always whatever I say, if it is my opinion, it's strictly my opinion. But I will not say what, if you hear it, you shout. Now, do you know what I found out? That the West, Southwest, were very versed in law. Many of them. At least the Southeast also have their own. But the North, once almost all of them, when they finish, they'll roll into the Ministry of Justice. The North, when they finish, so that as at the time, because whoever is not in Ministry of Justice can never be counted as somebody that will be in that position.
All right.
And the Southwest, that were many of them lawyers, SAN and all that, decided to be as practicing lawyers.
And they held.
Do you understand this thing? And that is why.
And that's why there are more SAN.
It's only recently we are having SANs in this, even in this town.
Simple.
All right.
Simple.
The oldest of SAN appointed in Port Harcourt is when?
Good.
How many do we have here?
So when the issue of appointment of this particular person as Chief Justice, it will fall on the North. Another one, it will fall on the North. And again, remember the military. When they joined, others looked at it and then went into civil service and all that. They don't want that kind of thing because the military, as at that time, were looked upon as those who were not. It was perhaps Brian Babangida and all the rest of them that turned it into a lucrative business.
All right.
I told you. So now they're not also. But you see, one thing I will not agree is that despite all these things we are saying, there seem to be nepotism.
How?
Good. Several times in the floor of the Senate, in particular, there have been this argument that no, this person should not replace the other one. It should be from this. Maybe the chairman could come from the north, and the secretary could come from the south. It not minding any part of the south. But in this administration, at least about either 4 or 5 times, this particular person will step out from the
east
as chairman, maybe from the east, and President Buhari will recommend himself a replacement,
another Muslim,
with another person, whether Muslim or not, I don't
Assembly.
know. Yeah, of course.
yes.
No,
No,
not just.
they
They are agencies, not a National Assembly, but all of them will come to be debated on the floor of the Senate. Now, take for instance, I can't remember just this ministry because it was we were discussing that every time here. Now, it happened. One woman was she headed one particular agency
from east.
Good. Once it happened, Abaribe was very bold in coming out to say, "Why are we doing like this?" Usually there are certain things the law will stand for, but that may seem to be abhorred by common sense. And that is why people always, since it's not written, for instance, they will go into their gentleman agreement. Because there are certain things you see that people will decide and say, okay, take it this way, by that agreement, the North will stand as chairman or the secretary, and the chairman will be from the South. And they've been running along in that way. Reaching on one particular one, you insist it must be from the chairman will be from the north, and then the second one is left for the other side. And yes, you can give the best that state, Minister of State, but we're talking about distribution of positions. But the truth is that I am not looking for any of them. I'm not going for any of them. I'm not interested. But what I'm stating is that there's nepotism.
All right. It's time for us to leave this conversation and go to the next one. It's interesting how we are divided in the house as to whether there is nepotism or not. Some people have argued in favor, some people have argued against it. But we have yes. But we have to move on because we've got 6 minutes to the top of the hour. And the next conversation has to do with Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria. And it's interesting how he has come out in his New Year. He has a New Year speech already. I mean, today's what? 30th, and he has a New Year speech already. And in his New Year address, he has come out to say, don't blame God. Don't blame, or rather, as the Punch puts it, stop blaming God for Nigeria's woes, he's telling the leaders of the country. Now, the report says former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Tuesday cautioned Nigerian leaders to stop blaming God for insecurity, bad economy, poverty, and other challenges confronting the country. Obasanjo said the nation's woes remain the choice of the leaders and followers, stressing a change of narrative as the country approaches 2021. The former president said this at his Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Ogun State, on his 2021 message to Nigerians. According to him, with enormous resources available in the country, Nigeria does not have to be poor, and no Nigerian must go to bed hungry. He described 2020 as a year of many challenges, but urged Nigerians to work and pray hard in order to achieve a glorious 2021. Obasanjo said, "I like the motto of his school, which says, work and pray." Some people say it should be pray and work, but it doesn't matter to me in what order I put it. But prayer must go with work and work must go with prayer. And I believe we need to work hard in this country as we pray hard so that the coming year, the year 2021, will be a glorious year for us. But it will not happen unless we work to make it happen. We do not have to blame God for our situation. We have to blame ourselves. Nigeria does not have to be poor. No Nigerian must go to bed hungry. That we have a situation like that is a choice by our leaders and followers alike. My prayer is that God will make the year 2021 a better year for all of us, but it will not happen without work. On strategy to recover the economy from recession, Obasanjo said, when we do the right thing, we are not doing the right thing now. When we do the right thing, the economy will be what it should be. We have gone from one form of insecurity to bad economy, and on the top of it is the COVID-19. Some people, either for insecurity or for bad economy or for COVID-19, have gone to the great beyond. I will say, may the world of those who have the soul, I believe, the Punch meant to write. May the soul of those who have departed, particularly in this year of challenges, rest in perfect peace. All right, let's get your reaction to Obasanjo's statement.
Well, I think I agree that there should be work and prayer. Yes, I do agree, because faith without work is dead.
Okay.
And so if you like, no matter how religious you may claim to be, if you keep on hoping in God without doing any work, you will remain where you are.
But is that the situation we have in Nigeria? Have you seen our leaders?
No, I'm coming.
Because the president once said that it's only God that can secure the borders.
I'm coming.
Okay.
The situation in the country is away from religion.
Okay.
That's completely what I want to say. So if anybody is thinking that is God that is holding us backward, then the person has to think that God and understand that God is not partial. And so I think I accept what Chief Obasanjo has said, even though I have some reservations, which I will also make known. When you say that we should stop blaming God, the leadership of Nigeria should stop blaming God for our challenges, I agree 100% with him. Because I said President Buhari now is the president of Nigeria, and he came out for election so that he will occupy that position. And he was voted in, rightly or wrongly, because that's how Nigeria election is. He became the president. He should do the job of the president. There was God then. He didn't say, okay, let us elect God to be the president of Nigeria. So he came out. And he's the president. And there are duties assigned constitutionally to the president. He should do them. And if he's doing them, and doing them well, you should expect something that will also be well in terms of results. And so do your own. And the one you cannot do, leave it for God.
All right.
But in terms of whereas I have reservation with what Chief Obasanjo said is that he said Nigeria is a rich country. And no Nigerian should go to bed hungry.
Is it according to the resources that we have?
No, of course I know now, because there cannot be any other thing than our resources, which this God we are talking about, has endowed us with. Chief Obasanjo was in the place where President Buhari is. For I think if God keeps Buhari alive for 8 years also, he's on his run that course. And Nigeria was also a great country, rich country, because I'm not sure these resources we are talking about came out and Buhari emerged. Chief Obasanjo also did not steer the ship of this state to the point that there were no people then who were sleeping hungry. No. The same thing continues and it keeps on growing. Because I have said it. A lot of things that are happening now are not happening because it's Buhari that is there. When you have a child that is 1 year and there's something you have detected in that child as a behavioral pattern, it keeps on growing and becoming more exhibited as the child grows. So the rot in the administration of Nigeria had continued from inception and is growing bigger and bigger, irrespective of administrations over the years. And that is why certain things are happening in the country the way they are doing.
Right.
So I want to believe that Chief Obasanjo didn't do well all round, because Buhari also must have done well in some aspects.
All right, let's go for the news update at 10. When we return, conversations will continue.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Good morning. Here is the news update at 10 and today 95.1 FM. I am Kala Dako Rebatable. President Muhammadu Buhari has said this administration will continue to encourage Nigerians to go back to agriculture. President Buhari said this has become imperative because the oil industry, which Nigerians abandoned agriculture for, is now in turmoil. The senior special assistant on media and publicity to the president, Garba Shehu, said the president spoke at the 5th regular meeting with the Presidential Economic Advisory Council at the Presidential Villa Abuja. According to the statement titled President Buhari, government will wrestle food inflation in the coming year. Shehu quoted the president as giving his words that his administration will keep a keen eye on food inflation in 2021 while giving a directive to the Central Bank of Nigeria not to give any money for food importation. Meanwhile, Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, said the country is not doing the right thing to improve its poor economy and tackle poverty. The former president, who said this in his New Year message in Abeokuta, Ogun State, cautioned Nigerian leaders to stop blaming God for insecurity, bad economy, poverty, and other challenges confronting the country. Obasanjo's message followed after President Muhammadu Buhari urged Nigerians to return to agriculture. Obasanjo, who sent his New Year message to Nigerians in an interview with newsmen, assessed economic strategies of government. He also explained how the country could improve its economy when the enormous resources available in the country are being utilized. He further described 2020 as a year of many challenges, but urged Nigerians to work and pray hard in order to achieve a glorious 2021. Authorities in all 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory have been asked to reopen all laboratories and scale up the testing for COVID-19. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force, PTF, and COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, made the appeal at a briefing in Abuja. Mustafa, who said the reopening of all laboratories across the states was to ensure that testing is expanded, and also said isolation and treatment centers should be open to accommodate the rise in cases of infection nationwide. So far, Nigeria has tested more than 937,000 samples, out of which over 84,000 infections have been confirmed, with 1,264 fatalities. A health boss has expressed extreme concern over a surge in coronavirus cases in the UK. The health boss said a record number of cases was reported for the second day running, disclosing that 53,135 new COVID-19 cases were recorded, as well as 414 more deaths within 28 days of a positive test. Not all data was reported in full over the Christmas period, leading to a lag in some data, but Public Health England said there had been a real increase. The health secretary said the NHS was facing unprecedented pressure. Ahead of an announcement on any changes to England's tier restrictions on Wednesday, Matt Hancock added in a tweet that they must suppress the virus to protect their NHS and save lives until the vaccine can keep people safe. That was the news updates. at 10 on Today 95.1 FM. Do not forget, take responsibility. Wash your hands frequently with soap and running water. Avoid touching your face and eye contact surfaces to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Good morning. I am Kala Da Kurubatabo. Stay tuned. Conversations continue after the break.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we are talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues raised.
In Port Harcourt says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the people. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms of the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook,
Today 95.1 FM.
or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962. Opinion poll on today's quest.
More than 3 over 4 of the loots we are talking about in this country today were loots within the 16 years.
Here is a great opportunity to sample all our opinions on the issues raised.
In Port Harcourt says the PDP is trying to divert our attention because Nigerian funds was looted by the people. Melody in Uniport says Madam Jonah is yet to come in terms of the fact that her tenure has expired. Annie, please tell him that investigation is not what you make public until the final stage.
Send your opinion to us on Facebook,
Today 95.1 FM.
or on Twitter @TodayFM951. You can also sample your opinions with us on WhatsApp or on our SMS portal using the numbers 070-1933-9962.
It's time to push the conversation forward. Let's change gears now. Let's get Obidima JP's thoughts on Obasanjo's statement where he has come out to say, hey, don't abdicate your responsibility or responsibilities for God, and that the people and the leaders are the ones who have put Nigeria in the chaos that Nigeria finds herself in. Let's hear from you now.
Yes, God in His creation also commanded us that we should conquer the earth. We should conquer the land.
All right.
And what God is saying is obvious. In fact, what Obasanjo is saying is in line with what God has instructed. But are we doing that? No. You see, leadership from federal to local government in this nation appear not to be improving like others are improving.
All right.
I've always blamed the constitution of this country. That constitution is not a constitution we made for ourselves. It's a constitution that was imposed on us by the military. We have not taken steps, despite all attempts to amend the constitution. But the key area, the heart of that constitution, the ingredients to drive development in that constitution, the ingredient to connect the people to governance in that constitution has not been touched. For parochial reasons. What am I saying? That constitution, a kind of gave omnibus power to the president of this country and the governors, cutting off citizen participation and also trying to hold government accountable for how government can account to them. And that's why they do things the way they do. I've made some pointed out some certain lapses
All right.
in the government of this state. on this platform and other platforms that I'm opportune to be, the quality of life in Nigeria is low. Our citizens in this country is very low. And the reason is what? Leadership. At every strata, we have not gotten it right. And what do? I don't know why the call for dialogue, conversation appeared to be pushed out each time it comes.
All right.
And if we don't engage in that, let me tell you, what we are tolerating today, our children may not tolerate it. And the incoming generation may not tolerate it.
All right.
And it could implode this country. So what will happen? We'll have a voice. And that voice must be listened to by those who are holding political positions, the leaders. If not, the quality of life of ordinary citizens will continue to diminish. Do you know that even in this country today, professors also beg? It's something that should not be had, should not be talked about. They beg. And when you hear this ASU strike, we have not even understood why ASU is striking. Can you imagine that Uganda lecturers in Uganda, a professor earns about $2,000 a month in Uganda, and a professor in Nigeria, maybe it's about 500,000 naira. That 500,000 naira, by January we are hearing that this thing will be devalued again. The naira will be devalued again, and that is also devaluing the life of Nigerians. This Christmas, do you know that a lot of the federal civil servants were not paid their salary, including my first daughter? She worked with a federal agency. No salary. In fact, she had not earned salary for over 2 months. You know? And you can imagine, I listened to one lady yesterday over the television. She's a Muslim. She said that she just pity her Christian friends, that at least they would have been giving money to enjoy this Christmas.
Government is saving it for them. January is going to be a tough month. I mean, they said January is going to be a tough month.
If we don't do something, the crop of leaders we have today, for me, they are not supposed to be where they are. They have diminished.
But you see, I've listened to you for some minutes now, and you focused on the leaders. But that's not where Obasanjo. Obasanjo also said, "You and I, you and I, because you sound like you're a follower as well. So you and I are also to blame."
That's what I said before. That the constitution of this country disconnected, in fact, cut off. When you talk followers, we are talking about the citizens. There is no connection. No connection. And anytime that citizens try to rise up, they are a kind of use the state power. They bring them down by using the state power and instruments. They bring them down. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. How many of our leaders actually are in touch with the people? Right. Look at the president of this country.
All right.
How many times does he even visit the constituent units? You know, how many times has he gone from one state to the other? Since 2015, he has not paid the state visit on River State. You know, where maybe a chief, the chairman of traditional district, may present his address. That is other than the government. That is what we are facing. How many times has he even visited Akwa Ibom? So these are the disconnection. How many times that there is a disaster in a particular area, he goes there to either empathize and show compassion to such people. You know, that's why I told you that they behave as if they are emperors. How many times? Look, even this pandemic, must pandemic lock our leaders down? Will it not at least go and go to visit all those where people are isolated, even if it doesn't help?
In trying to apportion the problem more to followership. And my reason has been very simple. A whole lot of people will shout down, why are you looking at followership? Of course, the followership tends to even get the brunt of whatever the negatives are. So why still hold them responsible? And I'll tell you, there's no leader that has ever evolved in any society without being a follower.
All right.
And so what do we see? We find followership that causes and does tells all the bad sides of leaders only to get into leadership and become the same thing. And we've gotten that circle continuously. So when you use the word just holding leadership, it's not making sense to me. It is because it's from amongst us that these so-called leaders have evolved over time. And for some of them, we also know them that they were sweet talks while they remained as followers. And we're only marking time, perhaps, to also go and taste the other side. And when they get there, we'll find the real us. So our leaders are actually us. But like I have said here, one thing is very straight, that we are all involved. After the Biafran War, a soldier wrote a book and he said, we are all involved. And I think Nigerians should believe that we are actually all involved in this mess creation.
All right.
God does not work for people. God works with people. And when he said prayer, perhaps he will have, he's a theologian. Not just a theologian. I expected him to explain what concept of prayer he wants Nigerians to pray. To the extent that prayer is deep thinking of problems for finding solutions, yes. But to the extent that it becomes the one type we see in our churches and our mosques, that we're wasting our bloody time. Because we can call heaven down. We can call all the fires down.
All right.
We'll remain at a place. We must think. Nigerians must be real to themselves. Think Nigeria. Think ourselves. Think the problems and evolve the problems. It's easy, and I keep saying this. Every time we do it, we keep saying the things that are bad without mentioning real solutions. And it's pathetic when persons who have held position give that kind of general blank recommendations, general blank findings, without telling us what to do that will better it.
All right.
We must move away from just saying things are bad to getting to how to getting it better.
Obasanjo said prayer without work is nothing. Is he alluding to the fact, or is he alluding to a possibility that this government structure that we have, maybe we should expand it to the state governments, are not working and are not working? Is that what he could be saying?
Government is not just federal. Government is not just state. Government is not just... For us in Nigeria, we have 3 tiers of government.
Right.
And that's where I have always said our problem lies. Until we are able to sync these 3 tiers of government, until we are able to say, this is a national policy. In this national policy, what is the state's policy? Until we're able to look at state budgets as linking to national budgets, until we're able to see local governments as linking to state budgets, we'll be working at various, as it were. We're working from different points. Today, you find in almost all states, NDAs executing a project. That same project is executed by a state government. That same project, in some cases, is also executed by a local government. You're static. That's the simple meaning. You have that synergy, you have that sync. No matter the political party you belong, political parties are mere vehicles. We must get to the essence where we see ourselves as government and understand what governance is at all tiers. My agenda is very simple. We have a national government. What is the state of the other tiers of government in that agenda of national government?
Yet again, in its entirety, I'm talking about government now, is it working or not? Going by...
I said it's not working.
It's not working. It's not working, okay.
The federal government is working at a different... completely different... In fact, some state governments don't even understand what the federal government is doing.
Okay.
State governments are working at different levels. Local governments are working at different levels. With that kind of structure, that's why I said we should stop saying things are bad. We should give solutions. And I'm saying part of my solution is that we must design a sync
All right.
between the states of government.
All
And
right.
I'll give you a very simple example. I said, for a national budget, for instance, to come to be, the states
It has to
should be
reflect.
concerned.
Yeah, the states. Okay.
The local government areas should be concerned.
All right.
We claim ordinarily that we have representatives, and I said we claim in the National Assembly who were supposed to have carry the positions of states to the nation. That's what the Constitution provided ordinarily. But we can't find that. It's not working. So we must redesign that structure to such an extent that we'll be able to say, look, states, there's a broad policy framework at the national level.
All right.
What is our stake in that thing?
All right.
And if we're able to design that kind of structure, I can assure you, all things being equal, we'll be able to see real change in the Nigeria that we all dream of.
All right, then. Let's get to Henry Ekene and wrap up this very conversation. What's your reaction to Obasanjo and his New Year's speech?
Well, he remains a statesman.
Okay.
He has led this country. I think the greater part of the life of this country, Obasanjo has really been at the top and at the driving position. So sometimes when he speaks, he's a very enigmatic person, in such a way that people understand him from different perspectives. Some see him as very controversial, and then some see him at some points as really an experienced person, and then making some points that could be reflected on, and then we'll move forward. That's how I see him too, the mix in Obasanjo. So, yes, he has spoken. And true to one of my views to my philosophy, you need to work. And I think even a greater part of our discourse here today has reflected in that when we started from food insecurity and all of that.
All right.
Yes, we need to work. We have been praying, and then God has created this world. My brother even actually said that He's giving us power to really even be charged to a large extent. Doc has just said here that God doesn't work for people, He works with people. So I take it as that too. It's a good call, reflecting moving forward. A few hours from now, we're going to step into another year. There will be aspirations, just as individuals do. Less than 48 hours.
Less than?
It should be about 48 hours.
Yeah, thereabout.
Thereabout. 2 days. So if I count it,
No,
one day.
it's 1 day and a half.
One
It's
day
less
and
still
a
hours.
half. So less than 48.
So that's it really. Then about governance and then responsibility, indeed. At all points, we have to really hold our leaders accountable to all that is expected of leadership and of government. Principally, the Constitution is clear as to what responsibilities the government of this country is supposed to provide. And I've said this several times. The Constitution did not say the responsibility of the federal government is to provide for welfare and security of the people. No. Section 14 is the primary responsibility of government. It didn't say of federal. So it means that the local government primary responsibility is welfare and security. The state government primary responsibility is welfare and security. The federal government primary responsibility is welfare and security. And the Constitution of this country, I wonder how we continue to condemn it. It's conceptual statements and the concrete by telling you the composition of Nigeria. All those preliminaries as to what our objectives are and all of that, they are there. Then what it tells you how the powers, the government of this country is shared. Section 4, Section 5, Section 6 tells you the respective organs of government and their power. There's nothing the Constitution would do other than to now tell you how to get to those positions. And that's what our Constitution has done. And then it tells you the rights of citizens, placing the people above every other thing. And then in all, it tells you how to manage our finances. There is nothing that would have been in the Constitution that isn't there. And then should have been there that we don't have there.
But there are conversations of lacunas, of loopholes,
that's why alterations and amendments will come. And even the alterations and amendments are not quite about loopholes per se. It's about strengthening, improvement. It's about improvement and strengthening. And then it gave the power to the National Assembly to enact laws that now derive powers from the Constitution. Not that they are going to be making Constitution over and over. So moving on, really, governments have to be I mean, all of them, they have to be responsible to the expectations of the people. Local government, state. I was telling my neighbor yesterday when we were discussing, we did a whole lot of analysis and we asked ourselves, who says there is any law, even as I am, point it to me, that limits a state government from making that state 24-hour power supply possible? There is no law. But you know the way we run this country and the narratives we give, the governor of a state will run a narrative that will mislead the people in such a way that all the problems in the state is coming from the federal government.
I spoke with someone in the power sector, and the state government does not have the right to
do what?
To transmit, transmission of power.
They don't have.
Hold on, go on. That's the narrative we have.
Like I said,
yes.
I spoke. Let's all calm down. Let's all be coming down.
Continue.
But now I spoke with someone in the power sector. I wouldn't call the company, but the point is the state government can generate, like we saw Odili do with the gas turbines. But now the problem is transmitting, because it is the NEC, the what do you call it now? National Electricity Regulatory Commission that has the power to transmit and dictate how it is transmitted.
Excellent. No, sorry, sir. Excellent.
On the national grid.
Wait, no, hold on, sir. That is what I'm saying. Which law stops you from
We have
having...
several communities hitherto now. I've mentioned in my place.
All right.
Bono was a community.
We are killing the
Bono was a community.
Wait, let
me finish.
My local government
get back
council,
to you.
not even state, local government council, powered them.
like in Bonny
We
Island.
had
Jesus.
Which law stop them?
Stop them.
With
The problem
with
is
a big generator.
Oh yes, we powered them. That's what we could provide. I'm coming. That's what we could provide.
That's your greed.
Yes,
It's power that we're talking about.
All right. Yeah.
Now, there is no law. I've said that before, even on this platform, and I've said, look, the only area you have issue is you cannot generate your power and put on my property. The national grid is a national property. That one is regulated.
So the problem is building a state
You
grid.
can do a lot of things.
So let me now make
hasn't
my point.
finished.
So
He
I
hasn't
said,
finished
and you
his
could see
point.
how it's coming out.
Yeah.
Even what you said, he said then the transmission company can regulate. It's their property. They can regulate.
Yeah.
Do you know that the same law you are talking about talked about rural electrification?
Yes.
So it means that my local government, and again, you see one thing, it is when we want to make a narrative to suit us that we say, at some point, my local government chairman was electrifying some communities. Local government chairman can electrify his community.
All right.
I mean, that's what I mean, providing power. The state government can provide power for my state to have 24-hour power supply. You can generate it. You can connect my communities to it. Who stops the River State government from making power to be in my village? Then you tell me the law, and then let them go to court to it. If I become the governor of River State, and I say one of my policies, okay, even if it means discussing, I will go and discuss with that federal government for a starter that is responsible to power, and tell me, and I make it public, that I have a policy to make my state be 24-hour power supply, whether it is by myself or with synergy with you. So in that, what are the limitations we're talking about, federal government, and you only call a president? My biggest problem is my own locality.
Right.
My biggest problem in my local government is my local government chairman.
Right.
My biggest problem in my state is my local what to do to transform my state. Talking about economy, who told you that we don't have economy at levels? The macroeconomy and the microeconomy. So, doesn't mean River State does not have an economy? Who controls the economy of River State? Even if it will have an impact by the way the federal economy is controlled, how much have you done to consolidate the economy of River State? Of my local government. Hold on.
No, I was gonna,
so a lot of issues,
okay.
Water, education, then you tell me, why can't I have quality education in my state? Then I say it's federal government. Why can't I have quality water and sanitation and health in my state? World standard. And you say it's federal government. Then you now tell me, somebody was saying here that they give policies to CBN. CBN what? Okay, can't I function and close my eyes and say, okay, even if there's a CBN, I just ignore them and their policies, and then their money on their grant, but devise a strategic policy to enhancing agriculture and food security in my state. And you tell me it won't work. And I tell you that there are states in this country that are actually moving on. Lagos is competing like a country. The economy of Lagos is bigger than the economy of some African countries.
But I was going to say, according to the report, River State is following, behind.
Oh, excellent. We want to improve, to get better.
According to the report.
So governance is total. There has to be synergy by all levels of government. It's not the kind that is state. As if you are at war with one other level of government. You all have the same responsibility. If I am holding you to account to me and to my generation, I will start with you, my local government chairman. Where is the health center in my village? Where is the health? Where do you want the responsibilities you are supposed to provide under the laws in my local government? Where are they? Where is the water? Who says that my local government chairman cannot spend 10 million naira in my village and it will be like a mini city? 10 million. The budget of my local government, how much have they reflected the challenges I have in my village? In my village, did they consider my village? So what year and what decade is my village going to be considered in budget?
Your village has the representative at the House of
So
Assembly.
that's what he's saying. Does that member of House of Assembly from my local government, does he even know what is in my village and what is not there?
Okay, quickly, because we have to move.
Yes,
we have to move quickly.
Yes, the issue of transmission. Like what he's saying, is really outside what the law provides. The local government is a generator to provide electricity in one community, not even the whole local government. It's a different thing from what we are saying here. Like what you said before, when not delay. Yeah, all the built gas station generating and selling to the national distant as a kind of revenue earning, but not to transmit.
Is NLNG a transmission company?
You mean LNG?
Yes.
Yes. Is it a transmission company?
Is Bahrain a transmission company?
No,
I'm coming. If LNG is producing power where it is working, Bonnie, now the question you ask, is there national grid up to Bonnie?
That is what they are saying.
Let me finish.
That's the point we are making.
Let me
we just
finish.
kill ourselves.
What
LNG? Sorry. There is a power
Allow him to finish.
There's a Power Sector Reform Act.
Excuse me, please. LNG is in River State.
All right.
It's not in Bonny.
All right.
Can LNG transmit that power to the whole of River State?
It can. It can.
It cannot because we don't have the grid.
But that is what they are saying.
Excuse me, we don't have the grid. That's why I said this. The grid is within the ambit of the federal government.
But you're not getting the point.
Yeah, you don't get
You're not.
No.
I want to move.
Concurrent list.
I want to move.
Power?
Yes.
I want
It's
to
in the
move.
exclusive list.
Yeah, it's just
No.
it can generate, but not to. I mean,
that is concurrent. Have you seen the Power Sector Reform Act?
All right. I'm turning off your mics. I'm turning off your mics. Thank you very much.
Within the federal government.
I'm turning off your mics. Now, the truth is, now you have made your point and they have made their points. It's time for us to move on and let's get to real talk. So we'll go for a quick break. When we return, conversations will continue. And this time we'll be looking at APC in Rivers State as Igwe Aguma is tinkering on going to the Supreme Court. Stay tuned.
Real talk.
But
it is really maintain the supposed to push the followers.
Today 95.1 FM, we bring you insights, intrigues, and happenings on the local politics of the Niger Delta.
But if that property you have somewhere worth that 1 billion is tied to a fraud of state money, if you can prove it's your personal money, you didn't commit any crime.
Join us every weekday, 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. Real talk. Keeping it real. Real talk.
But
it is really maintain the supposed to push the followers.
Today 95.1 FM, we bring you insights, intrigues, and happenings on the local politics of the Niger Delta.
But if that property you have somewhere worth that 1 billion is tied to a fraud of state money, if you can prove it's your personal money, you didn't commit any crime.
Join us every weekday, 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. Real talk. Keeping it real.
right, it's still as heated as it was when I went on the break. I think I need to call the fire service because it's getting very hot, and I don't want. It's somebody's company. I don't want it to burn down. But let's move on now. Let's get to real talk and let's focus on Rivers State issues and top on the political conversation. Of course, you probably must have heard me read the news. Is the APC back and forth in Rivers State? A couple of weeks ago, I want to believe it was 2 weeks ago, APC Rivers State chapter was in the news where there was a suspension of Amechi and his faction, and then there was a suspension of Igor Aguma and his faction, and then we saw the national come in and say, hey guys, let there be peace. The people or the committee that we do recognize is the Abo Dogbogbola committee. And of course, before then, we saw the APC, crash all structures in the 36 states of the Federation. However, the people in the Igor Aguma camp have been arguing that they have their legality, their backing from the court, the High Court, the judgment given by Justice Judge Omeriji in the Rivers State at the time. We saw the argument that since that verdict has not been vacated, that Igor Aguma remains the caretaker committee chairman of the APC in Rivers State. But however, a three-man panel of the appeal court led by Justice Stephen Ada in a unanimous judgment held that it is the exclusive right of the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress under the party's constitution to appoint a caretaker committee for any organ of the party. Now, the appellate court also delivered judgment on the matter involving the very, very, I'm looking for the adjective now to describe it. This particular matter was in the news for majority of 2019, majority of 2020, and if we are not careful, majority of 2021. And I'm talking about Dele Moses and 9 others. And at one time it was 21 others. Correct me if I'm wrong. 21 others. You can't remember.
One Musa also.
21 or 22?
22. One was a dead man. He came to 21, and then I can't remember the mathematics. Okay. But let's move on. But the point is also that judgment was kicked out, and the judgment was that only the people who bought forms should be allowed to participate in the forthcoming Congress, which we don't even know when. Okay, let's leave that, Canada. Come on, behave yourself. So the point is, what is your reaction to this development, given the fact that Igor Aguma is tinkering on going to the Supreme Court? He says he's not going to accept it and is going to appeal it, and is working on it. In the meantime, he has handed over to his deputy.
Now, who is his deputy?
I'll get the name. Right. But let's hear your reaction from that. Ben Sherman.
Golden Ben Sherman.
Yes, something like that.
Golden Sherman.
Golden Sherman, rather, not Ben.
Golden.
Okay, but what's your reaction? What's your reaction? Is Golden Ben Sherman? I've just seen it. Yeah. It's Golden Ben Sherman.
It's all right.
It's golden.
All I have to say there is that, you see, as you make your bed, you lie on it.
All right.
Yeah, I want to believe that the problem in APC, because Rivers APC is not different from others. And I have never in my life at this age seen where everybody will be a leader and there will be no followers. Everybody is struggling to be in the leading position. Nothing will work there now, because one particular person must be the overall, at least perhaps at a stipulated number of years or time. But where everybody wants to be on top, no, nothing will work out, because you can't be on top. Even if you're on top, somebody must be on the ground and carry others. You see, and you are saying, I want to be at the last, and the other person wants to be at the top, like that. See, when this thing happened, when APC itself came out and dissolved all the structures, and Igor Aguma came out and said, you remember my comment? Igor Aguma came out and said, he is the authentic, based on what the court granted. I said, please, I am not a lawyer, but those who are lawyers should call in into this program and tell us that if there is no APC, tell me what court will be giving. Answer. I don't understand. I said, my understanding is that APC is a political party, and NEC is the highest organ of that party. And if NEC has dissolved all the structures, which are you chairman or for the wind? I don't understand. And then the same NEC now appointed Obobula. For Emmanuel Ndukwe to see that he is the chairman, the authentic chairman of APC in Rivers State. If you like, call it factional APC or whatever. But that's the person to look up to. Since he is the highest organ of the body, the party that appointed him. And now, the Supreme Court, Appeal Court, good. Appeal Court has come out. But I wish he goes to that Supreme Court.
He said he's thinking on going.
Good. In fact, let him go. So that, who knows? You know, there's a way judgment happen in this country. Who knows? It may favor him. If he favors him, fine. Because there's no other place to go after that place, after that Supreme Court. Now, but now that Appeal Court has ruled and removed him, he stays removed. Except otherwise, he challenges it in the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court hands it over to them, every other person files behind. If they don't want to file, they would be one to bring up candidate perhaps in 2023. Simple. And that is why I say, as you make your bed, you lie on it that way. For me, one should be getting tired of APC in Rivers State.
All right. Let's hear from Obidima.
We're almost in 2021. And before ending of 2021, political activities will really kickstart. And the APC appear to be swimming in this, clear that the signs are also there now, that they cannot come together, they can't put their acts together before the next election. And it will be foolhardy for them to take a platform to disturb the peace of this state during the next election if they fail to put their act together. I think what...
how do you mean by disturb the peace? I'm sorry to cut you short.
Yeah,
I want to understand.
Last election, they were not there. They went and hired a party.
Everybody has the right to make alliances or not.
As a platform, and brought the military and all those things to create
accusations.
It's not accusation.
Do you have a proof?
I'm not a kid.
Do we have a court? Do we have a court statement to that effect?
Which court?
Allegations.
That military were not brought here.
Military were deployed everywhere.
Were not deployed to harass people.
Yet again, allegations.
So the point there is this. I want to say this. They have inadvertently or advertently made Rivers State a one-party state. And the situation now remains incurable, except they cure their individual egos.
All right.
You know, it remains incurable, and there is no way, from what I see in the science now, before this thing will run through the gamut of Supreme Court, and before they will begin to tinker to reconcile and all those things, time will not be on their side. But I also I don't know what the followers, like we are talking of followers here in Nigeria, the followers in APC in Rivers State are really doing to engage their leaders. I don't think they're doing much. They have also taken sides with their leaders, and the house that is divided against it cannot stand. It is a biblical, or may I say divine truism, that they cannot stand because they are divided, and the division is getting deeper and deeper. even the national level, the national organ of the party, even the president had not done much to ensure that they cure the problem of APC in Rivers State. So I just see it as another carry go for PDP in Rivers State in 2023.
All right.
And they'll be languishing and wailing and crying and abusing the party that is in power in Rivers State. And that is not even a solution to them. Those of them who are there, I only want to advise them that one thing that is quite beautiful in a democracy is competition, through electoral process, where every segment is given the opportunity to express, themselves politically. And if we go the other way, where the competition is not there, and they will make it as unopposed, unopposed kind of a thing, it's not going to be so sweet.
All right.
So let them cure themselves. If some of them on this platform, they should tell us much more that we don't know.
All right, let's get to Dr. Emmanuel. What's your take on this very one?
First, it's supposed to be a matter in court.
It's not yet in court.
It's not yet in court.
So if not, I wouldn't. He wants to go to court. Yeah.
I wish him to go to court quickly, ordinarily. He's my friend. Igor is my friend, and we had cause to engage at certain levels. But the truth is this: he has his right.
All right.
He has his opinion.
Of course he does.
So if he thinks he has a case, good luck for him. But as a party, I will say it for free. That is bickering is getting too long.
Maybe we are reaching the crescendo now.
Yeah, getting too long. And the essence of leadership is that you feel the pangs of your followership. If that is not done and you allow ego continue to mislead you, then you don't have the moral right to claim you're a leader.
Is he misleading them? Is that, he's arguing that he has a
I told you, I said he has a right.
Okay.
But what you should be looking at every point in time is the effect of your supposed right on your followership, as it were. I haven't said that. I laugh when anybody thinks that it's APC that has a problem alone. I'm very much aware, even with you're a robber, I'm not a robber, you're a better robber, you're a bigger thief. And the rest of it all that is going on.
We know where you're going to.
No, I don't know. You're not beside me. I just hear it. We know all of that. And we also do know of even the legal matters that some of them are in the way and so on, even in PDP.
All right.
The truth of the matter is that politicians do not learn across the board, and that's shameful. You find them mainly interested in what they get at every point in time, as opposed to what the people behind them will get. That's highly saddening, as it were. I want to see real competition in Rivers State.
Me too.
So whether APC or PDP, all of them should go and work on their houses very well. It's part of the things you find. Third fingers, fourth hand, golden hand, unseen hand. And that's his principle. All of them could be working around these political parties. But Rivers State is above all of it all. For APC, I wish they get out of this as quick as possible. And but like you said, perhaps this is the end. Or it's getting to the end.
It gets into the end. It gets into the height of it. There's that possibility. All right, let's hear from you, Henry Ekene.
Yes, thank you very much. The All Progressives Congress, the APC, has its constitution and its structure. And I know that the judiciary, the courts, would always respect agreements of persons, individuals. And then for organizations, including political parties as associations, is the constitution of that party. So when you present issues as this, as to who has the power to appoint who into what position, and then who is holding what position, the legitimacy, propriety, or otherwise of the holding of a position, the courts generally, when it is agreement between individuals, they will look at the substance of the agreement, how freely reached. Generally, when it comes to associations and organizations, it's respect to the constitution of the organization. Otherwise, it will be likened to Nigeria, where as a citizen of this country, you don't want to respect the constitution, the constitution of the country. So that's why the court would always uphold. And then these constitutions would provide to the structure of leadership of that organization and the association. And then you have the same for political parties. You would have their leadership, their National Executive Committee or Council. You will have the National Working Committee. And the party, like someone asked, you see, generally, you cannot place something on nothing and expect it to stay. It could be removed in the circumstance that it was removed. Then you are either a ward, a local government, or a state chairman. Meaning that there is even a much higher level that can decide to... You're not even elected. Now, then the party just recently, perhaps in one of their strategies, to put to stop on all of these legal battles and here and there. That's okay. However you emerged as a caretaker committee member or executive, whether by appointment or your own came by a pronouncement of court, or your own came by a mutiny, maybe because you were powerful and then you took over from anybody in your party. However you emerged, you are all hereby dissolved. Commonsensically, I wonder what was left. Everybody at that time, go back to your party and return. And as a matter of fact, you know what happened? It meant that even the other person you are actually challenging his own thing has also gone. Who then were you fighting really? So if we were to be specific in Rivers State, whether you were Abe or you were Ogbobula or you were Aguma, whatever tripartite structure you had in the state, whether you emerged your own by imposing yourself, you emerge your own by the court pronouncement, you emerge your own by an appointment, all year dissolved.
Let me ask you this question.
What was the issue again?
Based on this argument that you've had where the structures have been dissolved, let's say we go to the Supreme Court, and like Emmanuel Indikwe said, there is the possibility, I mean, anything is possible in Nigeria.
What is what will be presented?
Time for preempting the court. Let's say he wins. How does this argument hold water? The argument that you just made.
Yeah, that is a weight that, for me, and understanding the judiciary, not the, what doesn't matter how the abracadabra you would do, it still will definitely come to the questions before the court that the court will answer. The court is not expected to answer a question that's not before it on its own. So, and again, too, like I said, what the Supreme Court would be looking at in the circumstance, it will not be looking in isolation of the decision of the party at its highest level that has taken precedent, overriding every other thing that has happened. All the litigations you had were before now. So even if there are appeals pending in the Supreme Court, say, do you know that appeals can actually be nugatory? That there could actually be matters that before the court and they've been overtaken. Do you know what the Supreme Court would say? It has become a mere academic exercise. And they do not waste their time into academic issues. Because where there were contentions at the time, but something legitimate has overtaken, it happens, not just because it's APC. So if the Supreme Court is aware or is drawn to the fact that look at what happened though, there were a lot of litigations at different levels.
And so we collapsed it.
Interlocutory applications or appeals that were before the various courts up to the Supreme Court. There was an interlocutory appeal before the Supreme Court, pending what even the Court of Appeal had to stay proceedings at some stage in some of the matters that let us go to the Supreme Court and come back on some interlocutory matters. But that we have dissolved all structures as they existed, I do not think that process will not be given recognition by the court. So, but well, if I'm a lawyer, so I wouldn't want to even hazard that kind of permutation.
Anything
can happen in the judiciary. The judiciary is still upright.
We saw a report.
They are laughing. The judiciary is still upright. Nothing can happen.
Did you not see the report about
they are still honorable and incorruptible justices of the Supreme Court.
Did you not see the report?
They just
is a lawyer.
The justice of the Supreme Court are incorruptible.
That we are talking about. But let's move on now. Let's open the phone line.
It's a permissible one, even if it's in nepotism.
I mean, you are
yes, now
you are standing for your
permissible.
People. All right then. Let's allow the people add their views on the issues that we have reviewed. But first of all, we will start with some of the messages, whether on Facebook or Twitter or the text and messaging portals. And this one on the SMS portal says, good morning to you. I think the president should not stoop so low and give his energies to... Okay, this is not today. Let's start with today. He said, good morning, dear presenters. On the case of Umahi, statements coming up is because he has gone against the evil plans of the PDP. He is a liberator and should not be distracted by some people in Rivers with dictatorial ambitions. For every Goliath, there is a David. More governors will jump ship at the right side. Umahi should not be distracted. Joe from Port Harcourt. Joe, but how did the governor... It wasn't the governor who made that statement. But let's leave you to your opinion. Let's get to this other one. This is what is the text messages keep pouring in. So what is Amici leading APC to failure? Roland. All right, that's entirely your opinion. This one says okay, I've done my best to stop them from interrupting themselves. This one says, good morning, Kalada. Where is Okay, you're saying that... okay, all right, I didn't get what you're saying there. Well, let's move on. One of your guests seem cleverly partisan. For example, whom did GEJ appoint to replace Aziza as NSA? Did he appoint a Southerner or a Bayelsan? Edu from Port Harcourt. And this one says, saying, good morning, team. Always moderate. Okay, everybody seems to be talking about the interruptions. All right. This one says, Kalada, nepotism in different form, keeping a Southerner as governor of CBN longer than supposed could be seen as a nepotic action. If Emefiele was a Northerner, also we in the South do not understand that appointment in Nigeria federal character spreads across the northern Nigeria, east, west, and central, and southern Nigeria, west, east, and south. If a southwesterner or easterner is given position, it is for the south. But we only see one north with divided southerners. We, the south, east, and west especially, must have our plan with regards to the Nigerian space, having in mind that life or living is a struggle and democracy is competitive. It may not pay immediately, but with time it will. And that's from Frank. And this one says, it is so shameful to know that we no longer have... okay. All right. Thank you very much there. Let's go to the text message portal. The powerful crisis rocking the APC in River State seem to be far from being resolved. I don't see them participating in any election soon in the state, going by their endless crisis. Well, let me mind my business. Christian Williams from Igweche. You ready? The 1999 CRFN, as amended, second schedule part 2, concurrent legislative list, extent of federal and state legislative powers, item 14, a House of Assembly may make laws for the state with respect to A, electricity and the establishment in that state of electric power stations, B, generation, transmission and distribution of electricity to areas not covered by a national grid system within that state, and C, the establishment within that state of any authority for the promotion and management of electric power stations. Item 15 in the foregoing provisions of this item, unless the context otherwise requires the following expressions have the meanings respectively assigned to them Distribution means the supply of electricity from a substation to the ultimate consumer. Management includes maintenance, repairs, or replacement. Power station means an assembly of plant or equipment for the creation or generation of electrical energy. And transmission means the supply of electricity from a power station to a substation or from one substation to another substation. And the reference to a substation herein is a reference to an assembly of plants, machinery, or equipment for distribution of electricity from Emi Fiaga. I guess that was the argument you guys were having at the time. This one says, Canada, it is a no knowledge of what's happening in APC in River State is a case of the voice of Esau and the body of Jacob. Igor Agamar is playing out a script well written by the River State government. 95.1fm, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Gift is my name.
All right, Gift, welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Good morning to all your guests.
All right, then.
Good morning.
Canada, let me towards the issue. But you're not blaming a nation that is not listening to order of its followers. With what I know, all other leaders in that party have agreed that is the leader to all of them. Maybe we can come to that understanding at that round table.
All right.
But where a leader is not listening to anybody, you will decide to bring daily phone on your own without, according to you, before you left PDP for APC, that it was because of position and all the rest. But you're doing the same thing. And these same praise singers are not picking against this very leader. They are telling these other people, if you cannot, leave the party. Leave the party to where? Okay, if he asks that client, why not him himself leaving that APC? Resign as a minister and form your own political party the way you feel like directing people, so that you know that you have all that it takes to bring in everybody to become a governor of River State. But you are pushing out others that if you cannot leave the party. They should settle their problem internally and forget about this going to court, because if you appeal, the next person will appeal. Right. Nobody is bigger than the other person. They are only recognizing you as their leader. Right. But you are equal. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much there, Guy from Yenagoa. Keep your calls coming in, but let's read this text, the WhatsApp message rather. It says, hello, Canada. Federal government should remember that Governor Wike and their states are planning lockdown, so they better come up with another means of doing this, their registration. As for me, I will not risk my life to go to any NIN office this period. Let the government do their worst, Emmanuel. All right, back to the phone lines. 95.1 FM. What's your name?
Yeah, Jude from Oyibo.
All right, Jude from Oyibo. I hope you promise. I hope you promise to be constructive with your argument.
The truth must be said.
But if you're not constructive, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Talking about the nepotism. This is the only regime in the whole, right from 1960, where you have the head of legislature is a Muslim, the head of judiciary is a Muslim, the head of executive is a Muslim. Have you ever had such a thing since 1960 up to today? All the five key ministries are headed by Muslims. Minister of Education is a Muslim. Minister of Finance is a Muslim.
Saraki was a Muslim too?
This is what the Matikuka is talking about.
Okay.
The five ministries are headed by Muslims.
All right.
What can you have in such a country? And somebody is telling me about you like this. You see this APC. I have told you that the APC is a political arm of Boko Haram, and they will never have peace. They will never have APC. Will never have peace.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in.
Please give her.
Yes. Let's 95.1 FM. What's your name? Yes. What's your name?
Yes, my name is Reginald. I'm calling from Chicoche.
All right, Reginald from Chicoche. Yes. Welcome.
Yes, I want to talk on the APC issue. I'm happy that the judgment was entered yesterday, and I think all judgment was entered yesterday. And Igor Agoma threatened to go to Supreme Court. He has the right to go to Supreme Court, but I know too well that his position has no place in the APC constitution as of today, because the national body being recognized by the Constitution. The State Technical Committee here is also being recognized by the Constitution. So what the advice I will give to Igbo Aguma and his group is for them to come back home. They should not be playing politics because we know the type of politics they are being played. They are playing the politics that they just want to justify whatever thing they are collecting from PDP. Because we know very well that what they are playing to exploit them. They deliberately want to ensure that there will be no APC in River State.
All right.
But to their greatest surprise, everything they are doing, they are still seeing that PDP has large number of supporters, and which PDP is being threatened. PDP is being threatened that if APC is on the ballot here in River State, that PDP will crash. That is their afraid.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. We've got to go. Thank you very much there. Let's read another WhatsApp message. It says, good morning to everyone in the studio. Please, Canada, you don't allow Dr. Iru Ayanama to be attacking Dr. Obidima's title. Must he agree with him? President Buhari's administration is driving this country to the manifesto of Banana Republic. The statement credited to the clergyman depicts in summary the height of nepotistic disposition of President Buhari's administration. All the financial aid made available to farmers, how many is coming to farmers in south and southeastern parts of the country? And this is coming from Comrade Imezi Grade from Obiteche. All right, back to the phone lines. I missed that call, so I'm going to take another message. Canada nepotism is in different forms. Keeping the Southern as governor of CBN longer. Okay, I think I've read this, Frank. I think I've read this. This one says, the Nigerian state is a quasi-state. That is why Buhari will keep giving us audio promises. We are not living in what I call elasticity of hope. We are hoping for a radical change in a hopeless and failed state like Nigeria. Marxist from Alu. And you went ahead to say, imagine where we are paying 5,000 for NIN registration. Is it now a poverty alleviation scheme for NIN staffers? And that's what you were saying during the headlines or newspaper review. But let's move on to this one. This one says, who says the present FD administration is not practicing nepotism? Did former President Goodluck Jonathan extend the services of defense and army chiefs in his administration? He never did. They retired when due and new brooms took over. Even Minima, did he stay a day longer? No. Why now is PNB afraid of shifting defense portfolios to zones other than his? Blatant nepotism. My brothers, if you ask me, Brother Ima and Obidima, kudos. The Ijo man there should speak the truth and not being anti-Jonathan. And this is coming from Sir Ania. All right, let's take the call. This call now. 95.1 FM, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, this is Pastor Isaiah George from Buguma and Calabar land.
Welcome.
Good morning to everybody.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yeah, guy, my good morning, yes.
Good morning,
you see, I am very much glad in my heart. Yesterday's announcement at the appellate court in favor of the Ogbogula-led ESCO. I think the truth has been said, I think, over and over and over and over and over and again. Since they said they want to go to the Supreme Court, it is still left for them. Because we keep saying that a guy has once said that these persons, after even at the Supreme level, they will still come up with another. Their aim, their plan is just to see that the party remain in this area. But there is a limit to every man's strength. That's how you can go, how far you can go. When they get to that limit, one thing I assure you, anybody trying to who believes or who is happy over the instability and the downfall of the party at the state level should just, that is his own thought. But I believe under the leadership of the right of Civic Meshi, peace will be restored and the party will coast to victory. 2023, we are to produce a candidate in River State, and even at the presidential level, at the federal
even with
level,
even with ego going to the Supreme Court.
That is his own. If he wishes, let him go. But the Supreme Court will still give their position.
So what if the Supreme Court runs for like 6, 8 months? Wait. I'm going somewhere.
I am telling you.
Okay.
I know where you're going. I said the coach will be light at the tunnel, but that of Father Kuka, my brother, the altar is what connects God and man. It is what connects even the satanic priest and his master Satan. The altar of God should be respected.
Right.
That is why whenever we man the altar as clergymen, there are vital prayers we pray. Oh Lord, I disappear that you might appear. I remain silent that you might speak.
Right.
We say a lot of things. Why we say these things? So that we don't make political statements at the altar of God.
Apart from being a clergyman, is a human and is entitled to his opinion. The last time I checked,
at the altar of God,
you are a pastor. You are a pastor, but you comment on political matters every day. Is it God sending you to do that?
I mean, on the altar of God, outside the altar of God, you can say political statement, but at the altar of God, if you are a politician, you understand, as a pastor, and people know you, I keep telling people, my own, whatever I can say in the open, I can't say at the back. If I can say it before you, I can say it anywhere else. So we are saying that, like the governor of Rivers, he's a politician. He goes to anywhere, he says political statement. People know him as a politician.
So you're saying Kuka's statement is political? I've got to let you know.
Now, listen to me.
No, I've got to let you go. Is Kuka's statement political or not? No, there is no time here. Tell me what you mean.
Now, what I mean is that he said a lot of things that brought in this man, the president, on board. Now he's repeating. That means he's
speaking the truth. I disagree
with
you. Thank you. That means your thinking is political. Thank you very much. I've got to let you go.
Yes, that is what.
All right. Thank you very much. There. 95.1 FM. What's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Good morning. This is Lady Lamat. You're calling from Tansamadi.
All right then.
Am I on with Today SMS?
It is Today 95.1 FM, yeah. Welcome.
I actually want to talk on the issue of the judgment that just came up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a welcome development because it's trying to channel it to the right directions.
Right.
And I also think that it has not really solved the problem so far because it will boil down to what the conciliation chairman, what they bring to the table, how they are able to bring the two parties together and declare maybe their terms and conditions, and everybody will be able to say, okay, you go with this, I will go with this. But in a situation whereby the other, maybe one faction will like to hijack everything, maybe because he have obtained a judgment from the court. I also think that with subsequent time, maybe it could be to the two. There may be a judgment from anywhere. I mean, try to stop them from operating, and that is how we become very serious compass on the issues. So I think the people that have to reconcile with these people, they should call the both party in questions and settle it with them amicably, not to side one faction. Because if they end up siding one faction, definitely it will still boil down to more problems.
All right, then. All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Facebook now, where Ademola Afolabi Demi says, please, what is really wrong with Rivers APC? Can they settle their differences and move forward? No party can progress without mutual understanding and gentleman agreement. Thank God Atuegbu says these guys are not ready. I think I read this on the WhatsApp message portal, so I'm moving on. Christian Williams says this powerful crisis rocking APC in various states seems to be far from being resolved. I didn't see them participating in any election, or I believe you meant to say, see them participating in any election soon in the state, going by their endless crisis. Well, let me mind my business. I think I read that as well. This one says, Kingdom K Mpapa. Good morning, Canada. The APC crisis has ended, and the real fact is that 1, can Isaac faction lead the party to victory in April election or 2023? 2, can Igwe Aguma April election, which is that? Anyways, moving on. Can Igwe Aguma accept internal resolution? Now, it is very clear that the APC crisis has not finished until the Supreme Court brings out their judgment from their jurisdiction. And you say you're a public analyst on political matters from Port Harcourt. All right, thank you. Solomon Iwejuo, many are wondering if these people can gather their acts together to fight the inhumane Wike's government. The best is now, because God will not allow lockdown government to continue. Very funny. Philip West, the APC factional crisis is a big situation, not only in Rivers State, but all over the country. But with a situation like this, I don't think it will help APC as a party. And St. Thank God says APC National should be careful because they want to bring Victor Gadam through the back door. I don't get that argument, but moving on. Adekunle says the problems with Rivers APC is that some members are working for the opposition party. Why going to Supreme Court when landlord declined you to be his property caretaker? Aguma should take the judgment by faith and move the party forward. Still on Facebook, this one is from Tamino Igoni Eric. My thoughts on Kuka's opinion is that he made a well-articulated view, but should not have ended by blaming it on northern ethnic and religious differences as the cause. And as for OBJ's opinion, well said, but how come he never knew this when he was in power? Because all the leaders we have in this country contributed to what Nigeria is today. Thanks and good morning to you guys. Good morning to you too. Melody Onyeze, Melody Unipo, that is. OBJ is right, even though he contributed to our problem. It is the height of corruption and hypocrisy for the president to collect huge amount as security vote and defense and thereafter tell us that our security is in the hands of God. I wonder if there was no God when he blamed Jonathan for insecurity. Let Buhari hand over all the money spent on security to God before I listen to him. Even countries mentioned in the Bible and Quran like Israel and Saudi Arabia are protected by man-made efforts and arsenals. Please tell Dr. Imara that leaders set the pace for followers. Leaders enjoy state money to set the pace. Why blaming citizens whose voices are barely heard? All right, back to the phone lines. Let's take some calls and continue the conversation. 95.1 FM, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, good morning, Canada.
Yeah, good morning to you.
My name is Comrade James Sugonko. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, Comrade James.
Let me quickly, thank those of your guests that have spoken the truth. I don't know why Ogadima will always like joining the issue.
Continue. He's entitled to his opinion.
Moving forward, I think the APC crisis has come to an end because from time immemorial, we know that there are tools in the party who have been set aside to destroy the interests of the party and to scatter the structure. When you are going for justice, you must go with APC. In time past, some of our leaders told us to bend down low to a certain Senator Magnus Abbey to contest and won election. A lot of people will stop not to contest during that period for him to move. If you know that you're a Democrat, you would have said no. Allow everybody to contest. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. Now that we are trying to do the same to you, you now understand that it's not democratic. So that's why I say people should not be drinking both sides of their mouth. For us in APC, we are happy with the appeal court judgment today. Right. I think even though they go to the Supreme Court, you cannot put anything on nothing. There is no legal standard that they can use to go and appeal this judgment. Right. Based on the decision of the hierarchy party members have taken, the Executive Committee have taken the highest, the highest organ of our party have taken the best decision. Everybody must accept.
All right, Comrade James, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You made your point there. Let's move on. 95.1 FM, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Yeah, greetings to the
Yes, good morning.
my name is Ebube.
All right, Ebube, welcome.
I'm calling from Remote.
All right, welcome.
I want to comment on the headline, the judgment that was passed yesterday. Yeah.
All right, let's hear your view.
I just want to tell the PC fans in River State, the patients, that who've been fighting this fight about 3 years now. It's not so. We've been fighting this fight for this party to be established in River State. But I thank God that at least a judgment has been passed, and we are looking forward for the party to stand firm.
All right.
So the people that I'm even blaming are the judiciary, because they are too slow in passing judgment.
All right.
Before now, the judgment should have been passed, but well, I was still hoping for them. Let them go to the Supreme Court earlier.
All right.
Before.
Where are you calling in from?
Yes, my name is Mike. I'm calling from Port.
All right, Mike, welcome.
The APC crisis, to me, is not necessary.
All right.
I'm a reverse man. The rule last time here for the present administration, what did they do? What did they do?
It wasn't the APC. It was whether you like it or not, it was the PDP that ruled.
I mean, Rotimi Amechi.
And you should say Rotimi Amechi, not the APC.
Yes. Government. No, it's APC now.
And the government was the PDP. That's my point when it started.
I'm coming. You started really, which you started well. Like I was talking to you now.
Oh, okay, so when he went to the APC, he did not do well again.
Yes, I'm telling you because for my own now, I'm using my community as case for the little one.
All right.
He promised doing our roads. As I'm telling you, the one road was the worst road under his administration.
So because he did not do a Lelewan road, it became because he did not do a Lelewan. I'm asking you a question. I'm the one moderating the show. So now you're saying because he did not do a Lelewan road, he became a bad governor all of a sudden.
I'm coming. I will answer.
No, answer the question. It's a question for you. Answer it, please.
To me, he didn't perform.
All right.
He didn't perform because what he did to us, even health center, he abandoned our health center.
But while he was in the PDP, when he did not do Elelewa Road, he was a good governor.
Amechi started well.
Okay.
That's my statement. When he started well.
But he did not build your road when he started well. That's what I'm saying.
As a case, are you aware that this road which is doing now to people now? People now never travel to their place with a car. They never drive home to their car with their car. And a commission of works from Opopo, being the Peter side, abandoned that road. When all of them went to APC, they started that road. They immediately went to APC. Most places were abandoned.
All right.
So that's why I'm driving at. So now they are saying that 2023. See what they did to River people is different in our memory. Court was closed. I don't know if you heard Port Harcourt at that time. Based on their own interest, not our own interest. They sent our children to school, to abroad. They abandoned them there. To pay their school fees, there was a problem then. RSDA was abandoned. They owe them 7 months salary. 13,000 teachers recruited.
I'm wondering where you're getting your facts from, but continue.
No, it's true now. It's true. Somebody was owed 7 months. What are they coming to do? And then to try to make up. Amechi received the highest allocation in South River State, if you can remember. The River allocation is not to 15 billion, and Amechi was taking over 26 billion. Look at Monterey. Monterey is flying follow there. Nothing up to now.
All right.
They are not going to offer anything.
All right, thank you very much. They're not going to offer anything you've said. Thank you very much there. We've got to go. I'm going to read some text messages and then we're going to say our final words. This one says, I greet you all. I wish to appeal to the detractors of the president to allow him focus on his transformation drive on the agriculture, road, rail, airport, power, petroleum, etc. Let them stop this, their baseless gang up in the name of nepotism, Islamization, Fulanization, etc. Engineer Francis. This one says, good morning. I am Barrister Ojegbe Paulinus, a legal practitioner in Port Harcourt, periscoping the crisis rocking Rivers APC. In a dancing arena, the drums cannot sound out without sticks hitting them on the top of the surface. Igor Aguma and his chums are not acting alone. They are hands of Esau and the monkey in that matter. Indeed, somebody with enormous power of egoism is behind the throne, architecting the discord. One day, APC in River State shall settle that problem under Rotimi Amechi. It is just a matter of time and God. This one says, good morning, Canada. Please tell Obi Dima that he is a PDP analyst and not in any way an international analyst, telling Wiki does not give appointments to anyone that is not very sharp. Okay. Okafo, thank you. Chief Okafo, thank you very much for that one. This one says, Kalada, with President Obasanjo, talk always is annoying me because during his regime, he couldn't turn Nigeria to heaven here on earth. And Igor Aguma, Magnus Habi, and others are no way to be found in APC this time around, Emmanuel Akpabio. And one last one, Kaladas for Agumar is a PDP mole in APC. He will stop at nothing to destabilize the party. His paymaster is re-strategizing and money is not in short supply. DK, let's have your final words now. Let's start with you, Obidima, or Dr. Obidima JP, journalist, international affairs analyst.
Yes, what Bishop Kuka said is obvious.
All right.
And all that the president is telling us about food production is just mere propaganda that we have been hearing since 2015. Canada go to markets. I go to markets. Go there to buy things. How much meat will you buy that can make a family? In fact, I said it here one day and I was laughing. If you see where a family divides 500 naira meat, you compare to the kind of meat when you visit a family in the US, they serve you. The meat they will present is more than either the yam or the rice you will eat.
All right.
So, despite all the propaganda and all those things, honestly speaking, the quality of life in this country is low. And again, the president has 2021, 2022 to redeem his image and the image of his government in terms of nepotism, in terms of low quality of governance, in terms of insecurity, and in terms of Nigerian welfare of Nigerians.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much there. And we also have Dr. Emmanuel Iru Anyanama, a chartered arbitrator, mediator, management consultant, and socio-economic commentator. Your final say.
No amount of abuse, no amount of degrading statements will make Nigeria a better place at any time or any day. Nigerians have a responsibility, including Bishop Kuka and the rest, have a responsibility to do the needful to get what they want.
All right.
It is good to dream, but in dreaming, you must walk.
All right. And we also have Henry Ekina, legal practitioner, human rights advocate, former National Publicity Secretary of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Your final say.
Well, whatever it is anyone is doing, when you find yourself in position of governance, you should be working towards improving the situation you met on ground.
All right.
And then, of course, improving the lives of citizens. Rights are always the essence of defining humans. And then, but very importantly, what are actually development programs, or so to speak, in a state. I'm more concerned about the state. It should be about activities that will impact the lives of people. And then it should be more of sanitation, water, health, more of education, adequate housing, access to places, maybe good roads and all of that. Not sectional in any particular way. So I think that we deserve better governance in Rivers State. We deserve creating more jobs, employment, real times. Just like we had 13 teachers that were employed. We know them, including my relatives. They are still teaching and earning salaries every month. And then, of course, we know how we had good health, and then women could go to health centers, and of course, they will have free health services, antenatal. We need those things to come back. We have a sustainable development agenda and all that. We need those things to come back. We had Timariv. We need those kind of work creations to come back. We have sustainable development partners in Rivers State that we are coming and doing different things at different places. We need NDDC to be more progressive in doing everything that they were actually set up to do.
All right, thank you very much. Let's wrap up now.
Well, I certainly believe that the leadership of Nigeria, of course, indeed, also the followership, should not leave this our statecraft for God to pilot. The president should do his job.
You same time tomorrow. Remember, conversations start from 6 a.m. and it culminates by 11:30. Stay tuned to Today 95.1 FM. Dave Roberts with Entertainment Today is taking over the microphone.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.